Welcome to the Fantasy Audiobook. After 20 years of retreat, you will be born with Gods of Destruction level combat power. Chapter 31. This trip is coming to the 7th universe, and the goods received are really big enough. Happy, really happy. While Whis was thinking, Rebecca, who ate 2 more strawberry sundaes, let out a happy exclamation. Although May, the cool-tempered Gods of Destruction, didn't show too many emotions and words, but such a simple, undoubtedly did not mean that she agreed with what Rebecca said. Zhang Yang, can you give us some more of the delicious dessert we ate just now? Rebecca suddenly moved to Zhang Yang's side, blinking her big bowling eyes, and asked expectantly. Sure, Zhang Yang smiled slightly, but, don't you want to eat other delicacies? Is it okay? Hearing Zhang Yang's words, Rebecca's excited tone rose a few decibels in vain. Can? Zhang Yang nodded, very gentle. To be honest, at this moment, Zhang Yang really didn't regard such a powerful angel as Rebecca as an angel. Instead, he felt like communicating with a cute little sister. Thank you so much. Rebecca immediately jumped up from the stone bench, and then happily danced an unknown dance on the side. All in all, she was extremely happy at the moment. Watching Rebecca's unknown cute dance, Zhang Yang smiled knowingly. Then, he took out 2 capsules, one containing gourmet food, and the other containing various after-meal Michelin-level desserts. As for the quantity, it would be no problem to feed Rebecca and May for a whole year. In order to thank you for your hospitality, I have decided. Suddenly, Rebecca stopped her cute dance, and then looked at Zhang Yang with her hands on her waist in a very serious manner, and said very solemnly, Zhang Yang, I want to perform an angel blessing for you. Angel blessing. Hearing this word that he had never heard before, Zhang Yang was stunned. But at this moment, Whis on the other side opened his mouth wide, and Zheng looked at the serious face with incredible eyes, not like Rebecca who was joking at all. Rebecca. You. May spoke, her voice was very pleasant, and her tone was full of shock at the moment. Obviously, the angel blessing that Rebecca said was definitely not an ordinary thing. In this regard, the attitudes of Whis and Gods of Destruction may have been fully expressed, so even if Zhang Yang doesn't understand the meaning of angel's blessing, he can still guess something from it, which is definitely a very good thing for him. Thinking of this, Zhang Yang's heart beat a little faster. Zhang Yang is a good man with an extremely pure heart. I am very happy to give him an angel blessing. Rebecca laughed, her big smart eyes narrowed into a slit at the moment, obviously she had a deep affection for Zhang Yang. Hearing Rebecca's words, Whis took a deep breath, then set his eyes on Zhang Yang, smiled, and said, Little Zhang Yang, your luck is really good. Angel blessing, that's rare. It is a great blessing that someone can obtain. Oh, there was a little surprise on Zhang Yang's face. What kind of angel's blessing is this? Is it really so good? Do you know? Gods of Destruction May said on the sidelines. Among the 18 universes, only 3 have received angel's blessing. 3 people. Zhang Yang suddenly became interested, and hurriedly asked, Master May, who are the 3 people? The first is the Spellbreaker, the second is me, and the third is that Beerus guy. May is very cold and authentic. Zhang Yang's eyes widened suddenly. Lawbreaker. And Beerus was actually blessed by an angel. Master Lawbreaker is the Gods of Destruction of the 18th universe, and his strength is extremely powerful. Whis explained on the side. Gods of Destruction of the 18th universe. Zhang Yang narrowed his eyes slightly. From the 17th universe Gods of Destruction, it is not difficult to see that the Gods of Destruction named Lawbreaker is probably also an angel-level combat power that breaks through the shackles. If Master Beerus is not too lazy, his current achievements must definitely keep up with those adults. It's a pity. Rebecca spoke. Hearing this, the corners of Zhang Yang's mouth twitched. Good guy. It turns out that Beerus has such a high potential, and he is indeed the strongest Gods of Destruction in the original book who can beat the 11 with 1. It's not hard to see from May and the Lawbreaker that Beerus's potential may also be able to break through the shackles of ordinary Gods of Destruction, and thus reach angel-level combat power. Okay, I won't say much. Zhang Yang, close your eyes, and I will give you angel blessing. Rebecca flashed and came to Zhang Yang holding the angel staff. Without thinking, Zhang Yang followed Rebecca's words and slowly closed his eyes. I, Angel Rebecca, will bless the 7th universe candidate Gods of Destruction Zhang Yang. When Zhang Yang closed his eyes, Rebecca's voice rang in his ears. Before he could think about anything, a hot feeling suddenly hit him. And at this moment, outside world, Rebecca, Mei, and Whis stared at Zhang Yang with strange eyes. Rebecca, you were just the blessing of a perfect angel. As an angel, Whis naturally understood the level of angel blessing that Rebecca gave Zhang Yang, and his face was full of shock at the moment. That's right, this guy's state of mind is extremely pure. Well, he is also very kind. So, I thought about it seriously, and I should give him the highest level of angel blessing. He. Rebecca smiled cutely. He is really lucky. Mei was quite sour and authentic on the side. You know, even she and Beerus have never received the perfect angel blessing. The only one who ever got it was the strongest gods of destruction in history, the Lawbreaker. Now, another one was born. And this one is not the real gods of destruction, just a candidate gods of destruction with a mortal body. I just hope that Zhang Yang can absorb more energy under the blessing of a perfect angel this time. Nani. Whis took a deep breath, and was about to pray that Zhang Yang could gain a lot from the blessing of the perfect angel this time. But, suddenly, his pupils constricted suddenly, and a look of extreme shock appeared on his face. Because Zhang Yang actually absorbed Rebecca's angel power into his body. Although, what Zhang Yang absorbed was only a little bit, but that was also a successful absorption. You know, there has never been a single case like this. To be able to control the existence of angel power, there must be a hidden angel blood in the body. And Zhang Yang, as a Saiyan, how could it be possible that there is an angel blood in his body? So, immediately, Rebecca, Mei, and Whis looked at each other, everyone's face was full of shock, and finally said in unison, Zhang Yang's absorption ability is too scary, right? All in all, this Zhang Yang is a monster. Rebecca put her chin in her hand and vomited out something that couldn't be more true. Yes, he has reached the gods of destruction level combat power at a young age, and it is definitely not a simple gods of destruction level combat power in terms of strength, it may be the top gods of destruction level combat power. From this, it can be seen that this guy's potential is extremely terrifying. Time passed by every minute and every second. Soon, about an hour passed. At this time, Zhang Yang was already wrapped in a layer of holy radiance, and looked a bit like a giant egg. Why haven't you absorbed the angel blessing this time? Gods of destruction Mei frowned slightly, with a look of curiosity on her face. You know, when she received angel's blessing back then, she completely absorbed the increase brought by that angel's blessing in less than 10 minutes. Now, it took Zhang Yang a full hour to accept the blessing of angel with his mortal body. In other words, is the blessing effect brought by the perfect angel blessing more violent than she imagined? Crack. At this moment, the giant egg suddenly made a cracking sound. Immediately afterwards, the giant egg that wrapped Zhang Yang in it trembled, and it cracked completely after a while. What? This guy is really disgusting. When the giant egg was completely cracked and Zhang Yang appeared, both Mei and Rebecca couldn't help shouting in shock. This little Zhang Yang. Whis chuckled and shook his head. Mei and Rebecca were so excited, it was all because Zhang Yang was naked at the moment. Immediately, Whis took a step forward, lightly tapped Zhang Yang's chest with the angel staff in his hand, and then saw a ray of light explode. In the next second, Zhang Yang Chigyu's body had already put on the divine clothes exclusive to gods of destruction. At this moment, Zhang Yang was completely awake. He glanced around and found that both Mei and Rebecca had their backs to him, which made him feel strange for a while. But, in the blink of an eye, he began to check the amazing changes that the perfect angel blessing that Rebecca gave him this time brought about. Host: Zhang Yang. Bloodline: Saiyan. Combat strength: Gods of Destruction level combat strength 12.7. Skills: Flash for 2 seconds, 50 times Kaioken without side effects, Instant Transmission Advanced Version, 60% chance to kill attribute effects, 60% chance to weaken attribute effects, Second Stage Ultra Instinct, Superficial Angel Power, turn back 30 seconds. Items: Unlimited Multiple Gravity Room, Unlimited Gourmet House, Shondo 999+, Super Dragon Ball X3. The character attribute panel was called out, and Zhang Yang watched it. First of all, his combat power value has increased by 0.2. Secondly, He has shallow angel power. Huh, angel power. I actually absorbed Rebecca's angel power. Even though it's only a shallow angel power, this means that I can absorb angel power, which means it is enough to show that my physique is not that simple. Zhang Yang was startled, really shocked by the fact that he was able to absorb angel's power. Immediately, he also noticed a key point, that is, because he absorbed the superficial power of angel, he independently controlled one of angel's skills. Turn back time. Although he only controlled the time reversal for 30 seconds, but in a sense, he is already a half angel at this moment. Wait, I'm not going to gradually become an angel, am I? Zhang Yang was taken aback, and hurriedly looked carefully at himself on the character attribute panel. After seeing that there were no characteristics similar to angel, he was immediately relieved. But thinking about it carefully, the angel Anna of the 15th universe seems to have no characteristics of an angel at all, she is still an angel. And, at this time, Zhang Yang's mind turned back to reality, and he realized that Mei, the gods of destruction of the 17th universe, was not wearing a gods of destruction costume but a long black lace dress. Dignified, mysterious, cool. Zhang Yang blinked his eyes, maybe this is actually the divine attire of the female gods of destruction. Zhang Yang, you guys are so hateful. Rebecca flew over with the angel staff in her hand, then stopped in midair, and lightly tapped Zhang Yang's head with the angel staff in her hand. Hiss. Although it didn't hurt, Zhang Yang followed Rebecca and sucked in a breath of air, as if he was hurt by the knock. Okay, stop pretending. HMPH. Seeing Zhang Yang's appearance, Rebecca laughed a few times in her heart, but her face just snorted arrogantly, and she asked curiously, by the way, you absorbed my angel power, and your body happened, what changed? The body has not changed much, but the strength has increased a little, and also controls the time flow. Zhang Yang didn't hide anything about what he gained this time, and revealed everything. Nani, back in time, holy shit, ... Following Zhang Yang's confession, the casual appearance but such shocking news, not to mention Mei wanted to beat him up, even Whis on the side couldn't help but want to knock him up. Boom. Whis was reluctant to knock Zhang Yang, but Rebecca was. After tapping Zhang Yang's forehead lightly, a burst of complaints followed. You guys' casual attitude is really irritating. What's wrong? Zhang Yang was slightly taken aback. When we practiced back then, it was extremely difficult to control the ability to turn back time. And you, after absorbing the power of my angel, actually comprehended it by yourself. And you still look like an understatement, this. How to prevent Angel from thinking that you are beating me? Rebecca bared a small canine tooth, looking very fierce, but in fact, in Zhang Yang's opinion, this little Lolita is just trying to be cute. Immediately, Zhang Yang blurted out. Rebecca, I think you must be very cute with double ponytails. Huh, really? Hearing Zhang Yang blurt out, Rebecca, who was still pretending to be angry, suddenly suspended the angel staff in her hand, and then held her face like a porcelain doll in her hand, looking innocently at Zhang Yang. Zhang Yang. Absolutely. Zhang Yang nodded affirmatively. Snapped. Mei, who was on the side, patted her forehead lightly, and couldn't help being speechless at Rebecca's changed attitude. By the way, how many seconds does it take for little Zhang Yang to comprehend the time flow back by himself? At this moment, Whis suddenly raised a question. How many seconds? Hearing Whis' question, Rebecca and Mei suddenly became interested, and immediately set their eyes on Zhang Yang, their eyes full of curiosity. Regarding this, Zhang Yang blinked his eyes. He felt that it was not difficult to see from the question of Whis, that he should not be very good at telling things like being able to turn back the time for 30 seconds. After thinking for a while, Zhang Yang coughed twice, and said, he, I felt it, and it seems that I can only go back in time for about 5 seconds. 5 seconds. Whis nodded and said in admiration. That's right, you must know that the first time I controlled the ability to turn back time, it was only 10 seconds. You are not the owner of Angel's blood, you can control the time for 5 seconds. Backflow is also a very powerful ability. Hey. Zhang Yang laughed foolishly. At this time, Rebecca approached Zhang Yang, stared at him suspiciously, and said, Zhang Yang, how do you look at your expression? It doesn't look like you only controlled the time back for 5 seconds. Hearing Rebecca's words, Zhang Yang's silly smile froze instantly. How could he have forgotten that this little girl has mastered the ability of telepathy? Zhang Yang couldn't help but blushed for a while, but he glanced at Whis on the side, and in order not to hit him, he nodded forcefully, I just controlled the time reversal for 5 seconds. Humph. Rebecca Amber's dark eyes rolled twice, she took a deep look at Zhang Yang, and after humming twice, she was speechless. Obviously, she didn't seem to bother to break through this guy's cover-up. Anyway, just as he thought before, one day, his strength will be exposed, and his ability to control the time reversal for 30 seconds will also be exposed. Well, May and I should leave too. Rebecca grabbed it with her hand, and the angel's staff suspended in midair was instantly sucked into her hand. Thanks for treatment. May walked up to Rebecca, hesitated for a moment, forced a smile to Zhang Yang, and thanked Zhang Yang in a low voice. Seeing May's smile, Zhang Yang scratched the back of his head and said, actually, Mrs. May, you can express your inner emotions more. And, if you smile more naturally, it will definitely look better. Yeah, I quite agree with what Zhang Yang said. May, I think you really need to change yourself. Like this, maybe it will be more helpful for your next practice. Rebecca agreed with Zhang Yang pointedly. In response, May pursed her lips, but said nothing. Okay, Zhang Yang, Whis, May and I will leave first. The next time we see you, it should be at the Gods of Destruction Exchange Conference in 2 years' time. At that time, I look forward to your shining. May smiled and waved goodbye to Zhang Yang, then tapped the ground lightly with the angel staff in her hand, and she and May instantly turned into a stream of light and soared into the sky, and disappeared in the 7th universe after a while. In the world of Gods of Destruction. After May and Rebecca left, Whis suddenly chuckled. What's wrong? Hearing Whis' inexplicable laugh, Zhang Yang was puzzled. It's nothing, I just suddenly discovered how powerful you are. Whis said with a smile. Me, he, that's for sure. Zhang Yang pointed at himself, and then wiped the tip of his nose horizontally with his finger. With a smug smile on his face, he said, Whis, I have to retreat and practice quickly. I have a hunch that this time, I will break through your own shackles and reach a whole new level. He is not joking. He has already reached a combat power value of 12.7. If he does another retreat and adds the reward after the retreat, he may really break through to a value of 13 points. At the same time, Zhang Yang was also a little puzzled. Could it be that 13 points of combat power have already reached angel level combat power? Don't know, not understand. Therefore, Zhang Yang directly chose retreat. Watching Zhang Yang's leaving back, Whis smiled expectantly. He is looking forward to how this little guy Zhang Yang will grow up in the end. Thinking of this, he tilted his head, set his eyes on Beerus Palace, then took a deep breath, and murmured, Master Beerus, if you don't work harder, I'm afraid you will be surpassed by a rising star, or even crushed. It's over. Whis doesn't have the abilities of Anna and Rebecca, so it's because they don't know that Zhang Yang's strength has actually surpassed that of Beerus on the surface. Now, Zhang Yang stepped into the gravity chamber with unlimited multiples. At his current level, although no matter how many times the gravity is actually not very effective to him, his real big gain is actually not his normal practice. It's the end of the practice, the reward from the system. Although his cultivation talent is also extremely terrifying, compared with the combat power rewarded by the system, the value of his combat power from cultivation is completely insignificant. After this retreat is over, I will definitely break through my own shackles and reach a whole new level. Perhaps, that is the combat power at the angel level. There was a strange brilliance in Zhang Yang's eyes. This was definitely not because he thought too much, but a consciousness that was born on his own after absorbing and remaining the power of angel in his body. That is, he was able to break through the shackles of his Saiyan blood. Soon, spring goes and autumn comes. A year passed like this. IG 748, a day in May. Zhang Yang slowly walked out of the gravity chamber. At this moment, his face was full of excitement. As early as 3 days ago, he had already received the reward of closed-door practice, and now he left the gravity room because he had already consolidated his strength. Host: Zhang Yang. Bloodline: Saiyan. Combat Strength: Angel Level Combat Strength 13. Skills: Flash Time for 5 seconds, 50 times Kaioken without side effects, Advanced version of instant transmission, 70% chance to kill attribute effects, 70% chance to weaken attribute effects, second stage Ultra Instinct, Shallow Angel Power, turn back 35 seconds. Items: Unlimited Multiple Gravity Room, Unlimited Gourmet House, Shondo 999 Plus, Super Dragon Ball X3. Checking his own character attribute panel, the smile on Zhang Yang's face deepened. Today's him is the same as his guess a year ago. This retreat directly allowed him to break through the shackles and reach a whole new level. And this brand new level is exactly angel level combat power. Zhang Yang was not too surprised that the combat power value of 13 points was angel level combat power. After all, Beerus, who was extremely powerful in the original book, only had a combat power value of 10 points. My ability to turn back time has increased by as much as 5 seconds. Zhang Yang suddenly noticed a detail, that is, a year ago, he could only turn back time for 30 seconds, but now he is already an angel level fighter, and he has 5 seconds more. That is to say, the ability to turn back time will slowly evolve with his own strength. Good. Very good. Zhang Yang couldn't help admiring. His endpoint would definitely not be a simple angel level combat power. He believed that he would definitely become the most powerful existence in the Dragon Ball world in the future. And behind his adjective, there is not one, but the only one. Call out. Zhang Yang's figure flickered for a moment, and when he reappeared the next second, he was already in Beerus Palace. Following Zhang Yang's arrival, Whis spotted him immediately, and then turned his gaze, with a look of shock on his face. After Zhang Yang got closer to him, Whis focused his eyes and said in a deep voice, "Little Zhang Yang. Are you little Zhang Yang?" What? It was the first time for Zhang Yang to see such a serious expression on Whis, and he couldn't help being taken aback. Whis frowned slightly, and said, "Did anything change for you this time in retreat?" Well, Zhang Yang came and sat down next to Whis, thought for a while, and finally said, "There is no change, in short, it is just a simple breakthrough of the shackles of its own blood." Wrong. Whis shook his head, and said in a deep voice, "This time, you are far from simply breaking through the shackles. You may not know that your aura has become extremely strange." Strange. Quote. Hearing Whis' words, and seeing him showing such a serious expression for the first time, Zhang Yang was also stunned for a moment, not quite understanding what strange things happened to him. A year ago, your breath didn't carry momentum. Now, in your breath, it seems, no. It should be said that it definitely carries an extremely domineering momentum. Whis had the same serious expression as before, extremely heavy. Potential. Hearing this word that he had never heard before, Zhang Yang was stunned. Potential can only be understood but not explained. It is a kind of thing that cannot be explained clearly. Whis explained, the main condition for the birth of Urshi is to surpass the level of gods of destruction. Just like Lord May, the gods of destruction of the 17th universe, and Lord Lawbreaker, the gods of destruction of the 18th universe. The strength of the two adults has already surpassed the level of gods of destruction, so it is quite normal to carry momentum in their breath. And you shouldn't be at a level beyond gods of destruction, right? While talking, Whis took another deep look at Zhang Yang. How long has it been? Has this guy grown from a phenomenal expert among humans to a level beyond gods of destruction? It shouldn't be so outrageous, right? Whis couldn't help secretly guessing. Hearing Whis' explanation, Zhang Yang opened his mouth, and just said a word. Suddenly Whis seemed to think of something, and interrupted directly, "I understand. You just said that you broke through the shackles of your own blood, it has entered a new level. Perhaps, this is the reason why your breath carries momentum." This is indeed the best explanation for Whis. After all, growing from a phenomenon level master to an angel level combat power in such a short period of time also feels like a fantasy to Whis. Yes. Zhang Yang laughed. He wanted to confess his strength just now, but he didn't expect Whis to explain it himself, so he didn't explain too much. At this time, a yawn sounded. After a while, Beerus in pajamas came out sleepily. "Master Beerus, you are awake." Whis said hello. Beerus responded casually, then yawned again, and sat down on the sofa in the living room, slowly opening his eyes. At the same time, a face appeared in front of him. It was Zhang Yang's face and whoever it was. Just as Beerus's face darkened, and he questioned the kid for being so close to him. A sense of horror struck him, causing his eyes to widen in vain. What breath? Why is it so terrible? This breath. Why does it feel like it's coming from Zhang Yang? Wait, it seems a bit like the feeling from the Spellbreaker, and maybe back then it smells like. That's potential base. In an instant, Beerus jumped up from the sofa, and then stared at Zhang Yang in disbelief. You mastered the momentum, Beerus exclaimed. Probably. Zhang Yang smiled foolishly. With affirmation, Beerus was completely baffled. Isn't this kid just a phenomenal master 10 years ago? Why so quickly became the existence of Yume and the lawbreaker who broke through the shackles of gods of destruction level combat power? Master Beerus, little Zhang Yang probably hasn't entered that level yet. It's just that his bloodline should have broken through the shackles. In addition, he still has Rebecca's angel power in his body, so he is in control. At this time, Whis whispered a reminder from the side. He has Rebecca's angel power left in his body. No, when did this happen? And isn't he Saiyan? How can he absorb angel power? Beerus was even more confused. Seeing Beerus's incomprehensible appearance, Whis smiled and explained to him what happened a year ago. Good guy, perfect angel blessing. After listening to Whis' explanation, Beerus opened his mouth wide, and couldn't help but look at Zhang Yang enviously. From here, it's not hard to see how terrifying the blessing of a perfect angel is. Even Beerus showed this look. Boy, you're lucky. Beerus patted Zhang Yang on the shoulder, then looked at Whis, and said in a deep voice, there is still 1 year to go before the Gods of Destruction Exchange Conference will start. In the next year, I will still work hard to practice. While talking, Beerus ran to the side and began to change clothes. Speaking of practicing hard, Zhang Yang took a look at Beerus and found that his combat power had reached 10.2 points. In other words, the Beerus guy has been accumulating. In other words, even if he is not all relaxing in his sleep, I am afraid he also has his own unique way of cultivation. After all, it hasn't been long before his combat power value has increased by 0.2 points. Thanks to Beerus, Zhang Yang thought to himself. Little Zhang Yang, do you want to practice together? Whis asked. Don't do it. I just got out and I'm going to relax. In a year, I'll be back in Gods of Destruction. Zhang Yang thought for a while, and finally shook his head and chose to refuse. It is good. Whis didn't force it either. Call out. Here, Zhang Yang directly used instant transmission to arrive at his home in the western capital of the earth. Looking at the dusty Dobby field, Zhang Yang frowned slightly, then his figure flickered and disappeared into the Dobby field. When it reappeared in the next second, it was already on the busiest street in the center of Exodus. He is going to find a housekeeping service to clean his Dobby. After all, he will be living in the western capital for the next year. Hello, we meet again, the girl of my dreams. Just when Zhang Yang took a few steps, a figure suddenly jumped in front of him, and at first glance, who was it if it wasn't Bulma? You little girl, why did you just catch me? Zhang Yang laughed. I often hang out in the western capital. Bulma chuckled, and it was obvious that she was really happy to meet Zhang Yang. Fate. Zhang Yang doesn't believe that Bulma really did it on purpose, and it's more likely to be the fate of the two. Dream girl, my name is Bulma, what's your name? Bulma asked with wide eyes. Zhang Yang. Zhang Yang replied. Hey, you actually have a tail. At this time, Bulma discovered a problem, that is, there is a thick brown tail wrapped around Zhang Yang's waist. What, are you scared? I'm not from Earth. Zhang Yang laughed. Cut. Bulma made a cut, and then suddenly reacted, his eyes were bulging, and he said in shock, wait, what did you just say? You. Are not from Earth. You said that. Come on, are you an alien? That's right, I'm Saiyan. Zhang Yang didn't intend to hide his identity, and said with a smile, okay, I have to go to work. See you again. As he said that, he took a step sideways, ready to find a housekeeping service. At this moment, Bulma hurriedly stopped him. She finally met Zhang Yang again, how could she just let him go? Immediately, Bulma said, Zhang Yang, I'm amazing. Do you need my help? I think I should be able to do it. Oh, hearing Bulma's self-recommendation, Zhang Yang couldn't help but raised his eyebrows, and said, so, do you know how to do housework? Housework. Hearing this word, Bulma's expression froze. Ha ha ha, I've stumped you. Zhang Yang chuckled lightly. It's hard to beat me. Bulma snorted coldly, and then began to rummage through his bag. Suddenly, a bright light entered Zhang Yang's line of sight, and he looked intently into Bulma's bag, his brows suddenly furrowed. Dragon Ball. It turned out to be the Dragon Ball on Earth. How could it be? The current timeline is IG 748, which is still a year away from the beginning of the first episode of 9 Dragon Ball. This Bulma. How did he find the dragon 1 year in advance? Where's Ball? Zhang Yang was very surprised. It's rare for me, but it's not difficult for my housekeeping robot. Hee, look, there are several housekeeping robots in this capsule. At this time, Bulma's excited voice sounded. Hey, what was the ball in your bag just now? Zhang Yang didn't care about housekeeping robots at this time, so he asked about Dragon Ball. Are you talking about this wishing ball? Bulma saw that his wishing ball was seen by Zhang Yang, and immediately took 2 out. Zhang Yang took a look, one was 2 planets and the other was 5 planets. After thinking about it carefully, they were really the 2 Dragon Balls in Bulma's hand in the early days of the original book. I read it from an ancient book. This is called a wishing ball. As long as you collect 7 of them, you can summon Shenron. And Shenron will grant you a wish. Bulma said excitedly. Of course, I don't think I need to look for the rest of the wishing balls. Because, my wish, today came true. Her purpose of collecting Dragon Balls was naturally to know where Zhang Yang, the man she fell in love with at first sight, was. Hearing Bulma's almost confessional words, Zhang Yang glanced at her and couldn't help but shook his head and smiled. You've already collected 2 dragons. The wishing balls, why don't you keep collecting them? Zhang Yang said, if due to my own reasons, the first plot of Dragon Ball does not start, who knows what will happen in the follow-up that is different from the original plot. But if you think about it carefully, is this world really the same as the original book? Thinking of this, Zhang Yang burst out laughing. Then, why don't you collect the remaining 5 wishing balls with me? Bulma's eyes suddenly lit up, looking for something in the legend with his beloved. It's romantic enough to think about it. Zhang Yang blinked, and was about to refuse at first, but after thinking about it for a while, he nodded and agreed. Anyway, he has nothing to do this year, so he might as well fulfill his childhood dream in his previous life. To be honest, embarking on a journey to find the Dragon Ball with little Goku Bulma is probably what any Dragon Ball fan fantasized about as a child. Zhang Yang is no exception. Then, let's set off immediately. Bulma is an absolute activist. As soon as Zhang Yang agreed, he immediately wanted to embark on a journey with the man he loves. So happy. Bulma couldn't stop laughing. Acted. Zhang Yang and Bulma did act. However, it is not the same as the scene in the original book where Bulma drives a car and enters Baozi Mountain to find 4 planets. Rather, oh my god, Zhang Yang, are we flying? It's too high, my god. The people below, the buildings, are just one little ant. Now, above the altitude of 1,000 meters, Zhang Yang is flying with Bulma in his arms. Bulma was buried tightly in Zhang Yang's arms, and she didn't dare to look down at all. At this moment, her whole delicate body was trembling endlessly. Obviously, she was extremely afraid of this feeling as she was flying for the first time. Opening parenthesis. After all, this is not in the plane, but actually flying above the sky like a bird. Holding Bulma in his arms, feeling her fear, Zhang Yang laughed out loud, and then flew even faster. In fact, he could use instant transmission, but after thinking about it, he took Bulma to experience flying. After all, every human being has the dream of flying without relying on objects. In just a few minutes, Zhang Yang and Bulma reached the high altitude of Baozi Mountain. At this moment, Zhang Yang looked down and saw the little Goku, who was holding a big fish with his upper body bare, howling excitedly. Seeing this scene, he couldn't help but chuckled and shook his head. This kid, why is he just like a wild monkey? Same. Call out. The figures of Zhang Yang and Bulma, who had just come to his senses, flickered for a moment and appeared directly below in the next second. What? When Zhang Yang and Bulma appeared at low altitude, Son Goku, holding a big fish, immediately found the two people directly in front of him, and immediately stopped with a sliding step. After seeing clearly that it was Zhang Yang, his eyes suddenly widened. Get up, excitedly said, Zhang Yang. Boom, I have to call you big brother. Zhang Yang was still holding Bulma in his arms, and he flew forward and tapped lightly on the head of the little Goku whose upper body was bare. Brother, Son Goku groaned in pain, and then looked at Zhang Yang with a strange face. He never knew what the name, Big Brother, meant. Ahem. Looking at the suspicious eyes of little Goku, Zhang Yang couldn't help coughing twice in embarrassment. To be honest, at his age, he is definitely of his uncle generation. And now forcing little Goku to call him Big Brother is purely to make himself appear not too old. Okay, I'm looking for you this time. Zhang Yang still held Bulma in his arms and explained to little Goku, but he didn't notice that the pretty face of Bulma in his arms was already covered with red clouds. Along the way, the three of them walked slowly, and it took them about 10 minutes to reach the top of Baozi Mountain. A small house appeared in Zhang Yang's line of sight, which made him sigh inwardly. In a way, Son Goku, who has lived alone for so many years, is indeed a wild monkey. If there is no Bulma in the original book, who takes him on a journey to find the Dragon Ball, who knows what the life of little Goku will be like next. This Bun Mountain is the beginning of a dream. Zhang Yang sighed in a low voice. Zhang Yang, can you put me down first? At this time, Bulma's soft and shy voice sounded. Why is there another person? At this time, little Goku also noticed that there was another person in Zhang Yang's arms. Bulma is really too light, so it seems too non-existent, so Zhang Yang, who has been chatting with little Goku, has never realized that Bulma is still in his arms. Of course, he can guarantee that he definitely did not do it on purpose. Excuse me, Bulma. Zhang Yang put Bulma down, and smiled awkwardly. No, it's okay. Bulma lowered her head, not only blushing, but her ears were already red. Seeing this, Zhang Yang chuckled and shook his head. Such a shy Bulma is not common in the original work. Diddy. At this moment, the Dragon Ball radar detector in Bulma's arms rang. Wishing ball. There is a wishing ball. The sound of the Dragon Ball radar detector immediately excited Bulma, and then hurriedly took out the detector and ran towards the little Goku's home. Not long after, Bulma ran out excitedly holding a 4-star. Zhang Yang, look, this is a wishing ball, a 4-star. Grandpa, hey, don't touch my grandpa. Seeing Bulma holding his grandpa, Son Goku immediately let out a shout, but just as he was about to rush towards Bulma, he was caught by Zhang Yang. Goku, that's not your grandpa. That's the Dragon Ball, 4 planets. Zhang Yang said. The purpose of my coming to you this time is to let you practice with me, and collect the few remaining Dragon Balls along the way. Hearing the practice, little Goku stopped struggling immediately, and his face became excited. He knew how powerful Zhang Yang was. If he could become as strong as him, it would be very interesting. Son. Thinking of this, little Goku hurriedly said, hurry up, teach me how to practice. I want to become as strong as you, and then, defeat you. Ha ha ha. Hearing the rhetoric made by little Goku, Zhang Yang couldn't help but burst out laughing. If this kid wants to defeat him, I'm afraid he won't be able to achieve it in this life. That day, the three of Zhang Yang set off. There is no difference in the development of the first plot in the original work, and there is no difference at all because the first plot started a year earlier. When the three of Zhang Yang sent Master Roshi's old sea turtle back to Guaxian Island, and the moment Master Roshi saw Zhang Yang, he felt a creepy feeling. Although Master Roshi is weak, he is extremely sophisticated in cognition, and he can only feel a burst of horror without showing any aura. This is undoubtedly not a terrifying person. Looking at the trembling Master Roshi facing him, Zhang Yang couldn't help but burst out laughing. It has to be said that this old man's perception is still very accurate. After taking the 3-star ball from Master Roshi, the three embarked on a journey to find the Dragon Ball. Soon, spring went and spring came back again, and a year passed like this. IG 749, a day in the middle of May. At this moment, Zhang Yang has returned to the world of gods of destruction in the 7th universe. He had already greeted young Goku and Bulma when he left Earth, so he was not afraid that they would think he had disappeared. Zhang Yang returned to the world of gods of destruction, Beerus and Whis had already packed everything and waited for Zhang Yang to set off together. Depart. God's realm. Whis held the angel staff and lightly pointed at Zhang Yang, and saw the three of them disappear into the gods of destruction world of the seventh universe in an instant as a stream of light. In the brilliant streamer. Now, speaking of Whis, what is the realm of God? Zhang Yang has watched Dragon Ball anime and even comics countless times, but he has never heard of such a place as the realm of gods. The realm of the gods. Whis looked reminiscent, and explained, this place has a lot of magic, no matter how terrifying the energy is in it, it can't break this place. Huh, it's just, as angels, you can't break this world. Zhang Yang was slightly taken aback. It's not just us at the angel level, but even my father, Grand Priest, with all his strength, he can only shatter the space of this world. But, it was only shattered, and it was restored in the blink of an eye. Whis sighed. What Whis said really shocked Zhang Yang. What the hell, how does the Grand Priest exist? That is a terrifying existence with at least the top 3 combat power in the Dragon Ball universe. And even this kind of existence can't blow up that god's realm. One can imagine how hard this god's realm is. How did this god realm appear? Zhang Yang continued to ask. Anyway, he is still on his way now, so it is better to learn more about this different world of Dragon Ball from Whis here. Do not know. Whis shook his head. This god realm has existed since I was born. That's it. Zhang Yang's eyes flickered for a moment, but he suddenly became very interested in the origin of this realm of gods. Correct. Whis suddenly thought of something, and said, the passage of time in the god realm is different from the outside world. Sometimes it is extremely slow, and sometimes it is very fast. For an existence that has reached the level of gods of destruction, the lifespan is equivalent to endless, and they don't care about the passage of time at all. Huh. Hearing this news, Zhang Yang raised his brows. My good guy, this god realm even has its own time. Is it a different dimension? It's interesting. Zhang Yang smiled and nodded. He turned his head and looked at Beerus, who was sitting cross-legged on the ground with his eyes closed, and found that his combat power value had reached 10.4 points. Beerus has started to practice Yi Ching Ji. Zhang Yang couldn't help sighing in his heart, and then imitated Beerus to sit cross-legged and closed his eyes to rest his mind. Call out. In the seventh universe, an incomparably gorgeous stream of light flashed away. At this moment, in a huge universe spaceship, King Frieza, just now I detected a flash of light. This is the ship where Frieza lives. At this moment in the command room, an ugly and tall alien humanoid creature was kneeling respectfully under Frieza, reporting the news. Frieza had a red wine glass in his hand. He shook the glass lightly, nodded slightly in response, and then looked at the vast universe starry sky, frowning slightly. Barnes, that nasty smelly monkey, where are you? Frieza's face was extremely gloomy. As long as he thought of the humiliation that nasty stinky monkey had brought him, he wanted to tear him apart immediately. Wait, Barnes, I will definitely find you and tear you apart. Frieza took a deep breath. The man he is now is not the man he was then. Knowing that he is not Zhang Yang's opponent, he has practiced for several months after destroying planet Vegeta, and his strength is already terrifying to the extreme in his opinion. Therefore, in recent years, he has been looking for traces of Zhang Yang with great fanfare. Unfortunately, after so many years of searching, there is no trace of Zhang Yang at all. Just wait. After Frieza whispered, he raised his head and drank the red wine in his hand, then crushed the red wine glass. On Zhang Yang's side, Whis flying speed also reached the legendary god realm after 7 days. The three of them had just stepped into the realm of the gods when an inexplicable pressure hit them. Gravity. Zhang Yang immediately sensed what this pressure was. It was an even more terrifying gravity. Zhang Yang, in this realm of gods, every moment is a kind of practice. Beerus said lightly. After leaving the god realm this time, I think my strength will go even further. Kid, I won't let you surpass me. The pressure of his cultivation comes more from Zhang Yang. After all, being surpassed by his younger generation is simply an extremely embarrassing thing. His arrogance will never allow this to happen. Little did they know, Zhang Yang had already surpassed Beerus long ago, and even left him behind to an unknown place. Why is the internal environment of the realm of gods inexplicably familiar? The three of Zhongyang walked slowly all the way, and all they saw was a gray space. When they reached a vast and boundless land, Zhongyang's eyelids twitched involuntarily. There is a blank space around, as if everyone is in a small space. And this scene is very similar to the scene in the infinite multiple gravity room owned by Zhongyang. Feeling it carefully, the only difference is that Zhongyang felt that time was passing in the air around him, instead of gravity as in the air in the infinite multiple gravity chamber. Therefore, Zhongyang didn't think too much about it. The universe is too big, and there are always some similar things. Yo, Zhongyang. At this moment, a shout sounded. It was a sweet and tender voice. Hearing someone calling him, Zhongyang stopped thinking and looked in the direction of the childish voice, only to see a very cute little girl with twin tails smiling and bouncing to greet him. If not Angel Rebecca from the 17th universe, who else? Seeing this little girl wearing a double ponytail as he said, Zhongyang couldn't help but smile knowingly. To be honest, Rebecca with twin ponytails is really like a little princess. If there were not too many people around, Zhongyang would definitely come forward and stretch out his hand to ruin this girl's face. Hello. Zhongyang waved his hand to Rebecca and the others to say hello, then he looked around and found many acquaintances. Of course, these acquaintances did not know him at all. Only gods of destruction and angel, none of the supreme Kais from universes came. Zhongyang's eyes flickered for a moment. Thinking about it carefully, this time as the Gods of Destruction Exchange Conference, and Supreme Kai seems to be indeed not qualified to participate in such a gathering. Da da da. The sound of trotting steps came. After a while, Rebecca abandoned the people in her universe and came to the area where the 7th universe was located. Zhongyang, after this Gods of Destruction Exchange Conference is over, you can still give me a little more. Huh, how do you master the power? The lovely Rebecca came jumping up and down, talking while approaching one side. After arriving at Zhongyang's side completely, her amber-colored pretty eyes tightened in vain, and her face showed shock. The color came, and he exclaimed. Fortunately, there are not many people around the 7th universe, and few people pay attention to Zhongyang's existence, so no one hears it. Maybe because Zhongyang was about to speak. Oh, I see. You must have absorbed the power of my angel and realized the power from it. You were really there, Zhongyang, you are really a super genius. Rebecca didn't wait for Zhongyang to explain, but she gave it herself. It made sense, and Rebecca stopped yelling, lowered her voice, and continued, this time, I want a lot of strawberry sundae ice cream, of course, mango tasty ones too. Well, in a word, everything, everything. Rebecca was biting her finger at this moment, tilting her head slightly, her ponytails twitched, which made Zhongyang cough twice, and then subconsciously moved. Touching Rebecca's head, Zhongyang said in an extremely gentle voice, no problem, my Miss Rebecca. Embarrassed. It's embarrassing. At least after Zhongyang made the head-touching action and said such words, he felt like he was dying. But he forgot one point. This is a two-dimensional world. And often a little girl like Rebecca has an attribute. She prefers gentlemen who are bigger than herself, and she also likes the action of touching the head to kill. Thus, now, Rebecca seemed to enjoy it completely, and even rubbed her head against Zhongyang's hand, looking like that, she even wanted to get closer to him. Zhongyang opened his mouth a little bit, looking at Rebecca who was very close to him. He didn't know what to say for a while. In the end, he could only say in his heart, good guy, it is indeed a second dimension. This is indeed a second dimension. Of course, Zhongyang knew it very well. If it is someone else, it is absolutely impossible to have this effect. The reason is simple, Rebecca likes his food, and she already has a good impression. Secondly, the angel power he absorbed belonged to Rebecca, so he naturally gained a further step in favor. Okay, Rebecca, you have to go back to Mrs. May. Didn't you see Mrs. May's eyes already killed me dozens of times? Zhongyang touched Rebecca's head again, and said with a smile. Remember, Zhongyang. Rebecca rubbed Zhongyang's hand again, then waved and jumped away with a smile. Zhongyang watched Rebecca leave with a smile, and then looked away. Next, as time passed, the gods of destruction, angel and even the candidate gods of destruction of the universe appeared one by one. The moment the gods of destruction and angel from a universe arrived, the already somewhat noisy surroundings fell silent in vain. Needle drop can be heard. This scene made Zhang Yang's brows twitch involuntarily. Zhang Yang looked at the last two people who came. It was a man wearing a golden gods of destruction costume and a tall male angel. Golden gods of destruction god garment. It was the first time Zhang Yang saw this kind of clothing, and he was really shocked. That's the gods of destruction of the 18th universe, Lawbreaker. Beerus said lightly. This guy has a chance to become the great gods of destruction above gods of destruction, the gods of destruction in charge of 18 universes. Big gods of destruction. When Zhang Yang heard this new vocabulary, his pupils constricted again. Good guy. The world structure of the Dragon Ball that he traveled through is the real opening. First 18 universes, followed by gods of destruction beyond the level of gods of destruction. Now I even heard the priesthood of the great gods of destruction, which really opened the eyes of him as a time traveler. Zhang Yang took a close look at the spellbreaker known as the strongest gods of destruction. He wanted to find out what level this guy's combat power was. Pity. Can't feel it. However, it is not difficult to see from the sense of oppression that this lawbreaker is definitely stronger than Whis. And as far as he knows, Whis' combat power value seems to be in the 15 points. He is 2 points higher than Zhang Yang. But this strongest gods of destruction spellbreaker is stronger than Whis with 15 points of combat power. At this moment, as if sensing something, the lawbreaker turned his head to meet Zhang Yang's gaze. At the same time, everyone followed the eyes of the lawbreaker, all staring at Zhang Yang. Zhang Yang's calm gaze caused the lawbreaker to twitch his brows, and then he looked away. Candidate gods of destruction in control. Interesting. Almost the moment they met each other, the lawbreaker had already seen what was on Zhang Yang's bright face. Stay with that Beerus guy, that is to say, is that kid a candidate for gods of destruction in the 7th universe? The strength seems to be good, but that face looks too immature, right? Who knows? That guy Beerus, didn't he say that he would never be a candidate for gods of destruction? This gods of destruction exchange conference is a bit fun. When the discussion started, most of them were talking about Zhang Yang, the 7th universe's candidate for gods of destruction. Because, the gods of destruction exchange meeting, as the name suggests, is an exchange meeting between gods of destruction. Without the participation of the weak Supreme Kai, it is not difficult to imagine what the communication is about in this so-called exchange conference. As for the candidate gods of destruction, it is also gods of destruction, so it will also participate in this gods of destruction exchange conference. Of course, the real gods of destruction communicate with the real gods of destruction. This candidate gods of destruction is naturally communicating with the candidate gods of destruction of each universe. Boom. At this time, an extremely loud drum sounded in the field. In the next second, a golden light appeared, and under the eyes of everyone, a figure slowly descended from the sky. Grand Priest, who Zhang Yang recognized as the being that descended from the sky, was none other than the Grand Priest with at least the top 3 combat power in the Dragon Ball universe. Join the Grand Priest. With the emergence of the Grand Priest, gods of destruction at a level similar to Beerus all fell to one knee on the ground. Zhang Yang, that's the Grand Priest, hurry up and kneel down. Beerus saw Zhang Yang on the side standing there blankly, with a look of horror on his face, and then yelled a reminder. Swish swish swish. As Beerus yelled, the gods of destruction around the universe kneeling on the ground turned their gazes. That kid is the 7th universe's candidate for gods of destruction, right? His name is Zhang Yang. HMPH. What a guy who doesn't know what to do. A mouse-like gods of destruction's mouth twitched with sarcasm, and he said coldly, this is disrespect to the Grand Priest. Beerus, I don't know if it was your intention or he is too ignorant. Quote. Quitella. Beerus' expression changed suddenly when he heard the sarcasm of the mouse gods of destruction. No problem. Grand Priest glanced at Zhang Yang, and a suspicious and strange look flashed in his eyes, which dissipated in the blink of an eye. He smiled and waved his hands and said, those who don't know are not to blame. Gods of destruction, please rise up. Yes, a sound echoed, and all the gods of destruction stood up. Call. Facing Grand Priest's irresponsibility, Beerus heaved a sigh of relief. He really didn't know what he and Zhang Yang would face once this guy got into trouble. Thinking of this, Beerus felt another wave of fear. Brat. Beerus recovered a little, and gave Zhang Yang a vicious look. Regarding this, Zhang Yang just smiled awkwardly. Although he himself would not want to kneel down, to be honest, he was indeed in a daze just now. Moreover, it is not difficult to see from the gods of destruction who knelt down just now. The gods of destruction at the angel level combat power level, like all universe angels, only bow slightly to show respect. Then there is nothing wrong with him not kneeling down. After all, in essence, although he has not become the real gods of destruction, his strength has already reached the level of gods of destruction or even surpassed gods of destruction. Therefore, he also has a certain background so as not to kneel to the Grand Priest. It's just that Beerus doesn't know Zhang Yang's true combat power, so he is so worried. As for Zhang Yang, he naturally understands that his strength cannot be hidden in front of the Grand Priest, so he also knows that the Grand Priest will never convict him because of this. Everyone, this Gods of Destruction Exchange Conference has officially begun. Grand Priest's voice rang in the ears of everyone in the field, and then he turned into a streamer and disappeared directly into the realm of gods. After the Grand Priest left, for some reason, Zhang Yang had a strange intuition. Before Grand Priest left just now, he seemed to have given him a meaningful look. To be honest, Zhang Yang didn't know if he sensed a mistake or what. Strange, could it be that the Grand Priest has seen through all the systems in my body? Zhang Yang frowned slightly, a little confused about the meaning of Grand Priest's slightly profound look. Master Beerus, the Grand Priest has left, who will host this Gods of Destruction exchange meeting. After Zhang Yang thought for a while, he was too lazy to think about it. He didn't think Grand Priest could really see through the system in his body. The Gods of Destruction Exchange Conference does not need to be hosted. Beerus said lightly, you can go forward and challenge whoever you don't like. As long as you don't kill him, no matter how badly he is injured, no one will stop you. Hearing what Beerus said, Zhang Yang's mouth opened slightly. Good guy, isn't this meow just a big fight? While thinking, Beerus had already taken a step forward. Quitella, are you interested in having a leg broken by me? Beerus's loud and clear voice resounded throughout the god realm, and he was the first to trouble him because of Quitella's incitement just now. Hearing Beerus' words, Zhang Yang immediately looked at the mouse gods of destruction Quitella on the side, and saw that the latter followed Beerus' challenge, with a constipated expression on his face at the moment, obviously understanding that he could not be Beerus' opponent. Beerus is the first to strike, it really doesn't fit his character. On the 15th universe side, Buzz sneered. According to previous Gods of Destruction exchange conferences, this guy would lie down from the beginning to the end, aloof from the world, and the powerful would not go to Beerus to discuss. And the weak ones naturally didn't have the guts to provoke Beerus. Today's situation is completely exceptional. Master Quitella thought that the Grand Priest would punish Lord Beerus and Zhang Yang, so he just opened his mouth to die. Who knows? Grand Priest did not condemn them. Anna on the side smiled lightly and shook her head. With her eyesight, it is natural to see why Grand Priest did not convict Beerus and Zhang Yang, it is entirely because the latter has strong strength on the surface. Field. Beerus' footsteps sounded, and he approached the mouse gods of destruction Quitella step by step. And as Beerus got closer and closer to him, Quitella's face became more and more ugly. His strength is also at the top level among the first 12 universes gods of destruction, but he is facing Beerus. This guy, among the first 12 universe gods of destruction, that is an absolute big brother level existence. At the once held Gods of Destruction exchange conference, he even crushed the gods of destruction of 11 universes by himself. That prestige was purely made by Beerus himself. Guy, if I had known that the Grand Priest hadn't punished Beerus, I wouldn't have said anything. Quitella looked at Beerus who was getting closer and closer to him, and his heart trembled with fear. If a leg is broken in private, it is still acceptable to Quitella. But getting a broken leg by Beerus in front of all the gods of destruction, Angel, and some of the younger generation is more than just physical pain. Even with his dignity of being gods of destruction but being shattered on the spot by another gods of destruction made him feel even more painful. So, Quitella didn't even think about it, and shouted directly, Beerus, your strength is well known. If you challenge me, isn't that just bullying me? So, I reject your invitation to fight. It is humiliating to refuse to fight. But, This result is far better than the embarrassment of being broken by Beerus. Reject. Quitella chose to refuse. This approach, to be honest, really surprised the gods of destruction in the various universes present. But thinking about it carefully, it seems that there is no other better choice than rejecting this choice. Cut. Quitella, this guy is really ridiculous. A voice sounded. Swish, swish, swish. Everyone around immediately turned their attention to the person who started the group first. Now, region of the 6th universe. Champa supported his fat waist with his hands, enjoying the sight of the gods in a nose-picking gesture, only to hear him sneer again, and said lightly, Quitella, you have the guts to die, but you don't have the guts to suffer. Pooh, ha ha ha. A burst of laughter rang out in the arena. Champa. Quitella heard the sneers around him, his face was gloomy, he turned his head to look at Champa, and scolded, what's the matter with you? Shut up. Shut up, I'm sorry, the mouth is on my mouth. If you tell me to shut up, I have to. Wouldn't I be very embarrassing? Champa is not afraid of Quitella at all. Although his strength is a little bit behind that of Quitella, in general, it is far from the gap with Beerus. Therefore, he had no fear of Quitella at all. If we really want to fight, we may lose face. Quitella's face became even more gloomy, and he gave Champa a vicious look, then turned around, stared at Beerus and said coldly, Beerus, don't be too Zhongyang. This is just the beginning of the Gods of Destruction Exchange Conference. As Gods of Destruction, you and I will fight against each other. How exciting will the battle between the younger generations be? Quitella was indeed smart, and with a few words, he directly cleared up the embarrassment he had suffered because of rejecting Beerus' invitation to fight, and even took the opportunity to overwhelm Beerus on the ground of righteousness. Hearing this, Beerus, who was already somewhat domineering, restrained himself a lot in vain. Quitella is not a very good person, but there is nothing wrong with what he said just now. The start of each Gods of Destruction Exchange Conference starts from the beginning with the candidate Gods of Destruction from each universe. But today, if Beerus, who is Gods of Destruction, starts first, it would be a bit of a violation of the underlying rules. Thinking of this, Beerus glared at Quitella viciously, and said coldly, for now, I'll let you go and wait for the communication battle between the candidate Gods of Destruction to end. You will be the first Gods of Destruction to break a leg. I hope so. Whose leg will be broken first? No one knows how to play mouth guns, anyway, Quitella is a good one. Ah, Beerus smiled coldly, and after taking a deep look at Quitella, he turned and returned to the area of the 7th universe. Everyone, this time the 7th universe finally has a new candidate, Gods of Destruction, why don't you take good care of the newcomer? At this time, Quitella spoke again, directly targeting Zhongyang, the candidate for Gods of Destruction of the 7th universe. Swish, swish, swish. In an instant, at this moment, Gods of Destruction and Angel of all universes in the audience, as well as a few universes with candidates for Gods of Destruction, all turned their attention to the 7th universe. Seeing this scene, Quitella smiled coldly in his heart. In his opinion, now, the pressure is on you, Beerus apprentice. Sensing the gazes from all around, Zhongyang glanced at Beerus helplessly, and said in a low voice, Master Beerus, what do you think I should do? What should I do? Let's fight, Beerus said lightly. He knew Zhongyang's strength. He had already been a phenomenal master among human beings many years ago, and now he was in control of the situation. Even if his strength did not catch up with him, he would definitely be Gods of Destruction at Champa's level. So, a bunch of little scumbags, what are you afraid of? No, Zhongyang smiled wryly and said, Master Beerus, these candidates for Gods of Destruction, are too weak. Yes, at a glance, Zhongyang saw that there are 17 universes in total, except that the 7th universe has the candidate Gods of Destruction, that is, the 8th universe, the 5th universe, the 11th universe, and then the 13th, 14th, and the 17th universe has candidates for Gods of Destruction. In Zhongyang's eyes, except for the fact that the guy from the 17th universe has some strength. The rest of it's just a few rotten fish and rotten shrimp. Speaking of rotten fish and rotten shrimp, Zhongyang glanced at that Quitella guy again. This real Gods of Destruction, in the eyes of Zhongyang today, is actually rotten fish and rotten shrimp. From what you said, it seems to be true. Beerus opened his mouth, a little awkwardly. The candidate Gods of Destruction of the 7th universe, don't you dare to stand up. Seeing the wry smile on Zhang Yang's face, Quitella immediately continued to raise his voice. As the candidate gods of destruction of the 7th universe, you are far from what the 7th universe gods of destruction Beerus should have for this conference. Enthusiasm. In words, Zhang Yang belittled, and the entire 7th universe was belittled. As for the 7th universe being humiliated, it was naturally Beerus, the gods of destruction of the 7th universe, who was ashamed. Quitella, this guy. Beerus' face turned gloomy in vain. If Quitella hadn't grasped the rules of the conference, otherwise he would have smashed all the teeth of this guy at this moment. Clatter. At this moment, Zhang Yang took a step forward. Swish, swish, swish. As Zhang Yang took this step forward, all eyes were on him once again. Today's Zhang Yang is not the previous Zhang Yang. Except for the existence of angel level, he can feel a little bit of his power, and the existence of gods of destruction level combat power and below can't be sensed at all. Therefore, in the minds of the gods, Zhang Yang's strength is at best the existence of a phenomenal master among human beings. This mouse gods of destruction. Zhang Yang spoke, with a calm smile on his face. He looked at Quitella, and the voice rang in the ears of everyone in the field. The reason why I hesitated is not because of anything, but in my opinion, as a candidate for gods of destruction in the 7th universe, I don't need to participate in the battle right away. So I think the seniors should show me as a junior. Scared. As Zhang Yang's words fell, there was a voice in an area of the universe. Immediately afterwards, a tall man in a black cloak came out. Zhang Yang took a look and found that this is the candidate gods of destruction of the 11th universe. That said, this guy could be the captain of Team Pride, Topo. Zhang Yang quickly withdrew his gaze. The calm smile on his face remained unchanged, and it seemed that he didn't want to pay attention to him. I think it should be fear. It's true, weak human beings will feel fear when facing this kind of situation. I have a deep understanding of this. That's right, it doesn't matter, the candidate gods of destruction of the 7th universe is afraid of fighting, but as the candidate gods of destruction of the 13th universe, I am not afraid of fighting at all. Come on, who challenges me? In total, only 7 universes have candidates for gods of destruction. Apart from Zhang Yang himself and the candidate gods of destruction of the 17th universe, the remaining 5 universes with candidates for gods of destruction all stood up. Seeing this, Zhang Yang's complexion instantly darkened, and the corners of his mouth slowly curved into a cold arc. Clatter. I saw Zhang Yang stepped forward and took a step forward, and then his extremely indifferent voice rang out in the field, "You guys are really shameless. In that case, with all due respect, do you know why I chose to avoid fighting? The reason is very simple. For me, none of you can fight. A group of rotten fish and rotten shrimps are still here to chat with me." As soon as Zhang Yang's words came out, the atmosphere of the audience exploded instantly. Chapter 41. Most of the gods who didn't understand Zhang Yang's strength looked at him with extremely shocked eyes. At this moment, a thought involuntarily emerged in the hearts of all the gods. This new candidate, gods of destruction, how dare you? Yes, how dare this kid say such expansive words? Quitella smiled, very happily. This kid is still too young. Crack. To fan the flames, Quitella was the first to applaud. Immediately afterwards, his voice sounded, "The 7th universe's candidate gods of destruction is really courageous, but I don't know if he has that strength." Clatter. Moment. With Quitella's voice fell, several footsteps sounded. It is a step taken by the 5th universe, the 8th universe, the 11th universe, and the candidates for gods of destruction of the 13th and 14th universes. Boy, you are really arrogant. Stupid guy, the 5 candidates for gods of destruction are all older, yet they dare to be so presumptuous. They really have never suffered. He. Let me see how strong you are to be able to say such arrogant words. ... Moved. One of the candidates, gods of destruction, moved, his body flickered, and then he arrived in front of Zhang Yang in an instant like a ghost. Zhang Yang glanced at him. The overall strength is not a phenomenon-level master among human beings, but it is also very close. No wonder he dared to be the first to come out and lead the battle. A rotten fish and rotten shrimp who has not yet reached the level of a phenomenal master, facing his attack, Zhang Yang is not even interested in dodging. He was not interested in dodging, but in the eyes of most gods, this kid was already frightened by the extremely violent attack. Nantuo, save some effort, don't beat him to death on the spot. A Gods of Destruction spoke, his tone full of indifference and disdain. Zhang Yang looked and found that it was an extremely unfamiliar Gods of Destruction, powerful, at least a bit stronger than the current Beerus. Hearing this, Zhang Yang sneered. He didn't move. Did he really think he was frightened? If so, let him move. Call out. Zhang Yang moved. At the moment when the man named Nantuo was about to arrive in front of him, Zhang Yang disappeared out of thin air. All the gods were shocked. Call out. Boom. Boom. While the gods were amazed at where Zhang Yang was going, they saw that Nantuo's whole body was slapped inexplicably, and then he flew back to where he came from. Nani. The audience was shocked. Not to mention that several candidate gods of destruction were shocked by this scene, even some gods of destruction were shocked in vain. Because, even they who were as powerful as gods of destruction didn't even catch Zhang Yang's movement at the moment when he made his move just now. This shows how terrifying Zhang Yang's speed is. Boom. Nantuo fell heavily to the ground. Call out. Zhang Yang took a step forward, and his figure appeared. He was already stepping on the candidate named Nantuo for Gods of Destruction. He bent slightly and looked at this candidate of unknown universe with an extremely indifferent look. Gods of Destruction, said lightly, you, or just a stinky fish. Boom. While speaking, Zhang Yang raised his foot and kicked him directly to the feet of the unknown and powerful gods of destruction who sneered. Without waiting for this unknown and powerful gods of destruction to get angry, Zhang Yang's voice rang out in the field. One stinky fish is not enough, let's eat the next one together. At this moment, the breeze fluttered. Zhang Yang's long black hair moved with the wind, and his seemingly immature face revealed an extremely domineering Zhang Yang momentum. At the moment when the momentum rose completely, the audience fell silent. A second passed. 5 seconds passed. 10 seconds passed. ... Not long after, a full 20 seconds passed. At this moment, the entire god realm was still terrifyingly quiet. One person, shocking the gods. This little guy, is interesting. Zhang Yang was shocked only by the gods of destruction below the angel level. At this moment, in the area of the 18th universe, the 18th universe gods of destruction Dharmabreaker who had been sitting with his eyes closed and meditating slowly opened his eyes. Call out. A golden light flashed in his eyes. Master Lawbreaker, the candidate for the 7th universe, gods of destruction Zhang Yang, seems to be in control. The angel of the 18th universe is a slender and handsome man. At this moment, he glanced at Zhang Yang, then looked away, and said in a low voice. Yes, the Lawbreaker nodded, his strength has also entered the angel level. This little guy, is not easy. Yes, a fledgling, not to mention mastering the situation, but also reaching the angel level in combat strength, his talent is so excellent that even the Lawbreaker himself may think it is not as good. When I ascend to the position of the great gods of destruction, this little guy will need your help, Cass. After saying this, the Lawbreaker took another deep look at Zhang Yang in the field, and then slowly closed his eyes. In the name of the strongest gods of destruction, those who can live in it. Gods of destruction, the strongest universe, is also home to those who can. Zhang Yang's potential is too terrifying, and his strength is too terrifying. Although there is a big difference with him, May of the 17th universe obviously doesn't like fighting, and she definitely won't fight to become the strongest gods of destruction, in charge of the 18th universe. So, after the Lawbreaker became the great gods of destruction, only Zhang Yang is capable of taking his place. Master Lawbreaker, please rest assured, I also like this temper very much. Faced with a real strong man, even a man as tall as Angel would willingly bow his head. Don't you see that when the Lawbreaker first appeared on the stage, almost all angels paid attention to him? The reason is very simple. This Lord Gods of Destruction is the first one to break through the shackles of Gods of Destruction and reach the angel level. ... Hey, Zhang Yang is awesome. Now, in the area of the 17th universe. Rebecca jumped up and down, applauded and laughed. Her pair of ponytails are doing because of her bouncing. At this moment she looks like an innocent little girl. Zhang Yang, he has reached this level, it's really scary. On the other hand, May also had a different brilliance in her beautiful eyes, and her eyes were staring at Zhang Yang in the field all the time. Obviously she was very shocked by his growth. Oh, playing tricks. After a silence, Quitella smiled coldly. He has to admit that the candidate for the seventh universe, Gods of Destruction, does have some strength, but he absolutely does not believe that the remaining 4 candidates, Gods of Destruction, are still not his opponents. Repeating the feat of Beerus. Impossible. Immediately, Quitella said lightly, the candidate for the seventh universe, Gods of Destruction, Zhang Yang, wants to fight against the remaining candidates for Gods of Destruction alone. Doesn't this satisfy him? Hearing Quitella's words, the few remaining stunned candidates for Gods of Destruction reacted, looked at each other, and then nodded in unison. Clatter, clatter. A few more footsteps sounded. Today, I will defeat you in place of justice. The candidate for the 11th universe, Gods of Destruction, slowly took off the black cloak on his body, and then revealed his sturdy figure. Zhang Yang looked, and when he saw this guy's face, the corners of his mouth couldn't help but curled up in an indifferent arc. Just as he thought, the candidate for the 11th universe, Gods of Destruction, is the incarnation of justice that appeared in the Dragon Ball Super period, Toppo, the captain of the Proud Team. Withdrawing his gaze, Zhang Yang glanced at all the gods in the audience, and then stepped out. His speed was so fast that even the gods didn't react. Zhang Yang had already arrived in front of Toppo. Boom! A thunderous and terrifying sound exploded. Boom! With just one punch, the captain of the Proud Team, the candidate for the 11th universe, Gods of Destruction, was sent flying, and fell heavily on the ground several hundred meters away. I didn't get up again in a short time, and I don't know if it's dead or alive. Seeing this scene, the remaining 3 universe candidates, Gods of Destruction, couldn't help being startled. At this moment, all 3 of them couldn't help but calculate their chances of winning against Zhang Yang. In the end, wry smiles appeared on the faces of the 3 who pondered for a moment. There is no chance of winning. Yes, the result of their calculations is that they have absolutely no chance of winning against Zhang Yang, a perverted guy alone. So, the 3 exchanged a glance with each other and left at the same time. Since one person is not Zhang Yang's opponent, what about 3 people attacking together? It's not invincible to defeat this perverted guy. Boring, futile struggle. Seeing this scene, Beerus in the 7th universe sneered and shook his head. This group of guys, just like the 11 Gods of Destruction who joined forces to fight against him many years ago, simply don't understand the gap between them and themselves. Boom, boom, boom. 3 impact sounds sounded, and in the next second, 3 candidates for the Gods of Destruction who were about to fight against Zhang Yang flew upside down. Crush. It was still crushing without any suspense. Only a few gods present were able to see Zhang Yang's action, and even some weak Gods of Destruction saw it, but they only saw it slightly, and didn't see it too comprehensively. For Zhang Yang's speed, all the gods present were amazed. After all, the speed of this newly promoted candidate Gods of Destruction is indeed beyond their imagination. However, no matter how fast the speed is, it is useless for the gods. Therefore, they still didn't see how strong Zhang Yang was. After all, the gap between Gods of Destruction and phenomenal human masters cannot be bridged by simple speed. Most of the candidates for Gods of Destruction have failed. Quitella, can I challenge you now? After the younger one finished, the old Beerus naturally stood up. He has endured this stinky mouse for too long. This time, one of his legs will definitely be broken. Otherwise, it would be difficult to solve the hatred in his heart. Beerus, have you forgotten? Zhang Yang, but there is still a candidate for Gods of Destruction who has not won, so, the battle between the juniors is not over. Seeing Beerus stand up again, Quitella's face turned a little ugly. However, he still found a reason to procrastinate, that is, he set his sights on the area of the 17th universe. The last candidate who didn't make a move, Gods of Destruction, is currently in this camp. From Zhang Yang's point of view, it was also a cloak, but this candidate Gods of Destruction was wearing a white cloak, and his figure didn't look very strong. Compared with the previous Toppo, it can even be described as petite. Zhang Yang frowned slightly. As a candidate for Gods of Destruction in the 17th universe, this guy did not provoke him. And he thinks that his relationship with Angel Rebecca of the 17th universe is not bad, and he also has an intersection with May of Gods of Destruction, so from the bottom of his heart he doesn't want to do anything to the candidate Gods of Destruction of the universe. May, what should I do? This Quitella is too disgusting. Now, in the area of the 17th universe, Rebecca glanced at Quitella with displeasure, and then asked May beside her. Oman, you make your own choice. May said lightly. Yes, Lord May. Under the white cloak, a clear female voice came, and then she took a step forward, and then the white cloak fell off automatically, and a woman with long blue hair and a pretty face appeared in everyone's sight. Woman. When Zhang Yang saw that the candidate for the 17th universe, Gods of Destruction, was a woman, he couldn't help being stunned. In the 17th universe, there are only women, no men. Even creatures, there are only females, no males. Beerus explained lightly on the side. Hearing this, Zhang Yang's mouth opened slightly. This, isn't it the sense of sight of the daughter country? Thinking of this, Zhang Yang couldn't help laughing for a while, and secretly guessed whether the 17th universe is also the way to give birth to children like the daughter country. If you have a chance, you can go to the 17th universe and take a look. Zhang Yang is very curious about this universe. I surrender. Just as Zhang Yang was thinking about it, Amon, the candidate for the 17th universe Gods of Destruction, uttered the words of admitting defeat. Quitella was the first to react, frowning very tightly, and said coldly, as a candidate for the Gods of Destruction level, you actually surrendered to a newly promoted candidate Gods of Destruction. Gods of Destruction level. Hearing Quitella's words, Zhang Yang discovered that the candidate for the 17th universe, Gods of Destruction Oman, turned out to be a powerful human being with Gods of Destruction level combat power. Good guy. This woman from the 17th universe is indeed extremely powerful. First, May, who is Gods of Destruction, broke through the shackles of Gods of Destruction and reached the angel level, and now there is a human candidate, Gods of Destruction Oman, who broke through the shackles of humans and reached the Gods of Destruction level of combat power. This talent, this potential, is outrageous. While sighing, Zhang Yang never thought about how shocking it would be for him to become an angel-level combat master with a mortal body. Master Quitella, just as you are not an opponent of Lord Beerus, you will choose to refuse to fight with him. And I am also not an opponent of this 7th universe candidate Gods of Destruction, why can't I refuse? Quote. Amon, the candidate for the 17th universe, Gods of Destruction, looked towards Quitella with calm eyes. Hearing this, the corners of Zhang Yang's mouth rose slightly. Quitella didn't know what to say when he heard Oman's sarcastic words. All right, Beerus stood up. Now that the battle for the candidate Gods of Destruction level is over, then I will challenge you, Beerus. At this moment, a statue of Gods of Destruction walked out of a universe area. Borui. Beerus looked towards the Gods of Destruction, frowned suddenly, and said, what are you involved in with me and Quitella? You can challenge me, why can't Borui challenge you? Seeing Gods of Destruction of the 13th universe helping him stand up, Quitella's extremely gloomy expression instantly turned into sunshine, and he said happily, I agree. I agree very much. If Quitella disagreed, he would be really stupid with his head caught in the door. Quitella, I'm not helping you escape this. Borui, Gods of Destruction of the 13th universe, said indifferently. He didn't have the slightest liking for the mouse. The shot this time was entirely to get back his 13th universe's face. Hey. Although what Borui said was very clear, Quitella was still very happy. Because he understands that Beerus is not Borui's opponent at all. After the two fight, the ending is definitely that Beerus loses. Therefore, Beerus, who was defeated and injured, never dared to challenge him again. If he dared to challenge Quitella, he would definitely make this guy overwhelmed. After all, Quitella is not useless. Master Beerus. When Beerus was in a dilemma, Zhang Yang suddenly spoke, leave this Lord Borui to me. Beerus was stunned when he heard Zhang Yang's words. I said, Lord Borui, leave it to me. Zhang Yang smiled slightly. Nani, did I hear you right? This junior from the 7th universe, what did you just say? Borui. Let him fight. What a big joke. Did he think Borui was also a candidate for Gods of Destruction? Beerus hadn't responded to Zhang Yang yet. The Gods of Destruction who heard Zhang Yang's words suddenly laughed lowly, and the words were full of sarcasm. It's really not their fault. Zhang Yang's strength is on the dark side, but Borui's strength is on the bright side. That guy is no ordinary Gods of Destruction. Beerus frowned slightly, and said in a low voice, "It's me, and I'm definitely not his opponent." If it's purely fighting skills, Beerus thinks that there are not many gods of destruction present who can be his opponents. But, under full fire, he, Beerus, is really not the gods of destruction opponent of the following universes. He understands this very well. So, when Zhang Yang brought up his fight against Borui, honestly, he would rather let this guy challenge Quitella instead of him. "Master Beerus, don't you trust me who is in control?" Zhang Yang smiled. He had such a calm smile from the beginning to the end, as if there was no pressure for him to fight against an extremely powerful gods of destruction. And that seems to be the case. Today's Zhang Yang has a combat power value of 13 points, and has reached angel level combat power with a mortal body. How can you lose against a gods of destruction? Oh, yes, you are in control. Even if you lose to this guy Borui, it's absolutely fine to hang around for a short period of time. And this period of time is enough for me to beat that stinky mouse, Quitella. Only then did Beerus realize that Zhang Yang is in control of a powerful force, and his strength is definitely not measured by the usual gods of destruction level combat power. Okay, then let us fight side by side. Zhang Yang stretched out his hand slowly. Beerus froze for a moment, then laughed, then stretched out his hand, and bumped into Zhang Yang's hand in the air. Snapped. Crisp high fives sounded in the field. Then, Beerus set his sights on Quitella, very gloomy. "Come on, Quitella, let me see your progress in recent years." Beerus. You. Quitella's expression changed. "Didn't Borui challenge you first?" "Don't worry about that, your opponent now will be me." Beerus smiled coldly. On Zhang Yang's side, he stepped forward, cupped his fists towards the area of the 13th universe, bowed slightly, then raised his body and said to Borui, "Boy, gods of destruction Zhang Yang, candidate for the 7th universe, dare you challenge Lord Borui?" Wow! Following Zhang Yang's challenge, the audience was in an uproar. As the candidate gods of destruction to challenge the real gods of destruction, and also to challenge the gods of destruction Borui of the 13th universe, this Zhang Yang. It must have been a bit too deadly. Where did he get the courage? A gods of destruction whispered, a wry smile on his face. He didn't hate Zhang Yang, but challenged the real gods of destruction with the candidate gods of destruction. This kind of thing has never happened in such a long time. Borui frowned slightly. To be honest, he was very unhappy at the moment. But, Zhang Yang's words have been said so perfectly, if he doesn't accept it, it's really unreasonable. Forget it, get rid of this junior this morning, and wait for Beerus to defeat Quitella before fighting him. Borui thought to himself, and then stepped out, apparently ready to fight. Just when Borui took a step, Yinan, the 13th universe angel who had never spoken a word, suddenly said, "Master Borui, don't underestimate the enemy, everything, be careful." Clatter. The sound of footsteps stopped, and Borui turned his head slowly, with a look of astonishment on his face, and said in amazement, "Yinan, did you just speak? Could it be I heard it wrong?" "Just be careful." Yinan smiled slightly, and after one more reminder, he stopped talking. Hearing this, Borui was shocked. When he straightened up again, his eyes were on Zhang Yang. His eyes were full of surprise. He didn't understand why Yinan said the words to remind him. This kid. Could it be that the strength is still above him? Thinking of this, Borui opened his mouth, his heart filled with disbelief. He is gods of destruction Borui of the 13th universe. The combat power value is as high as 11.5 points. And his opponent is just a newly promoted candidate gods of destruction. Strength. At most, it is ordinary gods of destruction level combat power, right? Boom. While Borui was still thinking secretly, the battle between Beerus and Quitella had already started. Beerus was quite angry with Quitella, and immediately turned on the berserk mode as soon as he came up, and Quitella couldn't breathe at all. Beerus' strength seems to have grown a lot. That's right, this time Quitella is miserable. Let's fight, as long as the fire doesn't burn on me. The gods of destruction of each universe started talking in low voices, and in the 6th universe area, Champa leaned comfortably on a rocking chair and said lightly, "Borui, I'm afraid I'm going to be crushed by Zhang Yang." "Oh, Master Champa, does he know Zhang Yang's strength?" Facing Champa's speech, Vados was slightly taken aback, and then looked at this guy who only knew how to eat with some surprise. Do not know. Champa narrowed his eyes and shook his head, and continued, I only know that Kid Jongyang won't fight uncertain battles, and that Guy Beerus won't let his sweet pastry be in any danger. What? Vados made a sound of surprise at Champa's remarks. She couldn't help but be surprised. After serving Champa for so many years, it was the first time she saw this lord move his mind. Please. At this time, in the field, Jongyang cupped his fists and bowed to Borui, who came out. Please, Borui said lightly. Soon, as the battle between the two was about to begin, ripples appeared around them, and then they were seen turning into energy and enveloping the two of them. Although the two are still in front of the gods, they are actually already in a different space. As Jongyang and Borui entered the different space, the eyes of the gods hurriedly withdrew from Beerus and Quitella. Beerus vs Quitella is just a crush, knowing the ending is so good. And the gods looked over, although they also understood that Jongyang would also lose to Borui, but they wanted to see if this bloated little guy could show his due combat power. A few seconds to lose. Or can survive dozens of seconds. Some gods of destruction whisper. Cut. This group of guys, look down on Jongyang now, and they will surprise their eyes later. HMPH. Hearing the whispers of gods of destruction around her, at this moment, Rebecca in the 17th universe region twitched the corners of her lips. She was very relaxed about Jongyang's strength. There is no need to go all out, and you can definitely defeat the gods of destruction Borui of the 13th universe with ease. After all, the gap between angel-level combat power and gods of destruction-level combat power cannot be described as a gap. Master Mei, is that? Can you compete with Lord Borui in strength? Hearing Rebecca's words, Amon, the candidate for the 17th universe gods of destruction, glanced at Jongyang in the different space, and asked in a low voice. Mei was as cold as ever, but at the moment of nodding in response, her eyes couldn't help drifting to the different space where Jongyang was. This little guy, indeed extraordinary, hiss. After getting the answer, Oman suddenly sucked in a breath of air. Then, when he looked towards the different space where Jongyang was, before she was amazed, after seeing the scene, he was so shocked that he couldn't recover for a long time. Now, Jongyang is in a different space. Jongyang has transformed into Super Saiyan God. Different from the previous Super Saiyan God Red. Now, the Super Saiyan God transformed by Jongyang has silver-white light ripples all over his body, bursts of energy arrogance erupting around his body, which looks extremely cool. Transformation form. In a different space, Borui looked at Jongyang's transformation form in amazement, with surprise on his face. It seems, there are still some differences. Are you carrying a transformation form with ZZG in it? Borui took another look, with a look of shock on his face. Master Borui, please advise. Jongyang clasped his fists and bowed again. Please. Seeing Jongyang at this moment, Borui didn't dare to be careless. He is not a fool. Of course he knows that Jongyang's state at the moment is not a simple transformed form superimposed with ordinary free will, but perfect and comfortable. That's right. Perfect ultra instinct. That's not something ordinary gods of destruction can handle. This, only when you have the angel level can you control it perfectly. Ordinary gods of destruction, even the fur is difficult to control. Just like him, Borui, whose combat power value is as high as 11.5 points, and he only controls the imperfect Ultra Instinct, that is, the Ultra Instinct Mega State. Now, he finally understood why Angel Yinan reminded him to be more careful. It turned out that this little guy controlled the perfect Ultra Instinct. Good. Jongyang's strength was recognized by Borui. At this moment, he didn't regard this newly promoted candidate gods of destruction as a junior who was instructed and educated by him. But peer treatment. Yes, at Jongyang's age, he is able to control realms that he has never controlled. This kid is promoted to a generation, isn't that the same generation as him? Drink. Jongyang moved. Today is the first time he has entered this state. Compared with the previous Super Saiyan God Red, at this moment he has a feeling of strategizing in the battle. In other words, he thinks he can easily predict Borui's offensive points. And it is true. With Jongyang taking the lead in attacking, Borui would naturally not fall behind, and set off to attack as well. But compared to Zhang Yang's offense, Borui's offense is nothing at all. With Super Saiyan God superimposed perfectly, Borui couldn't even touch the corner of Zhang Yang's clothes. On the contrary, relying on mobility, Zhang Yang punched Borui with ease, without any pressure at all, and seemed extremely comfortable. The state of Zhang Yang's fight with Borui at this moment, in the eyes of the gods outside 9. That's like an adult playing with a child. Am I hallucinating? Shouldn't Borui and Zhang Yang, the younger generation, switch roles? This junior from the 7th universe, is it a little too outrageous? Why do I have a guy like Borui who is the candidate for gods of destruction, and Zhang Yang is a long-established and powerful gods of destruction same as destruction? Is it speed? Zhang Yang showed his astonishing speed before, but now it seems that it really has an impact on the existence of the gods of destruction level. Have you forgotten? Zhang Yang, he is a master of gods of destruction level combat power. And, look at his current state, what is it if he is not a perfect ultra instinct? As the last sentence resounded in the arena, for a while, the somewhat noisy surroundings quieted down in this instant. The gods of destruction stared at each other in bewilderment, and felt some burning pain on their faces inexplicably. A junior. He actually controlled a realm that they couldn't control. To be more realistic, it is the perfect ultra instinct controlled by Zhang Yang, a new candidate for gods of destruction, which is a realm that they have never stepped into in their entire lives. A master of gods of destruction level combat power has the perfect ultra instinct blessing. Can the combat power be measured at the ordinary gods of destruction level? Obviously not. Don't you see that in the different space at this moment, Zhang Yang perfectly handles Borui's extremely powerful gods of destruction. As for the latter, even touching the corner of Zhang Yang's clothes is a luxury. Zhang Yang, this guy is releasing water. The gods were silent. Silence again. Before this, who could have imagined that this scene would appear? A powerful gods of destruction who has been famous for a long time is so powerless in front of a new candidate gods of destruction. Who is this 7th universe's new candidate gods of destruction? Why haven't I heard of it before? It must be the hidden weapon of this guy, Beerus. It's interesting. The candidate for the position of gods of destruction is suppressing the long-famous gods of destruction. If word spreads, this little guy named Zhang Yang will definitely be a celebrity famous in 18 universes. Discussions rang out in various universes. This time, it was no longer the previous doubts, but all the amazement. If the face is still not very good looking, it is probably the area of the 11th universe. Whether it is the clown gods of destruction Vermut of the 11th universe or Angel Makurita of the 11th universe, looking at Zhang Yang in a different dimension, his face is a bit gloomy. The candidate for the 7th universe, gods of destruction, is really a headache, dear. Makurita was holding the angel staff, her brows were tightly frowned, and she seemed very unhappy that Zhang Yang was taking the limelight at this gods of destruction exchange conference. 2. After all, her 11th universe candidate, gods of destruction Toppo, was crushed by a new candidate, gods of destruction, and now she is still unconscious on the side, who would be happy? I really don't know where that Beerus guy found such a pervert. His strength is probably close to that of any gods of destruction in the first 12 universes. Vermut nodded heavily. His eyesight is not bad, or in other words, in Zhang Yang's current state, people with no eyesight can absolutely understand. The potential of this new candidate gods of destruction is absolutely unlimited, and the current strength is absolutely equal to any gods of destruction in the top 12 universes. Hearing Vermut's words, Makurita squinted at him, but didn't say much. In her opinion, sometimes ignorance is a good thing. Now, Zhang Yang is in a different space. Boom. Boom. Zhang Yang and Borui punched each other. The two retreated tens of meters one after another. Zhang Yang's face was relaxed, while Borui's face was quite flushed. In terms of strength, it can be seen at a glance whether it is strong or weak. Your strength. Borui stared at Zhang Yang and said in a deep voice, it seems far less simple than gods of destruction. Master Borui, you are overthinking. Zhang Yang smiled slightly. His state at the moment is at most the level of combat power that Beerus had before. The reason why he can seem to crush Borui is entirely because of the perfect ultra instinct. Maybe. Borui took a deep breath, then clenched his fists and let out a loud shout. Boom. At the same time as Borui let out a loud roar, the purple energy arrogance on his body suddenly grew. At this moment, in Zhang Yang's eyes, the purple energy aura around Borui is like substance. Is it fully fired? Zhang Yang's eyes flickered, and the corners of his mouth raised slightly. That being the case, then he will improve his strength a little bit, and have a good time with this long-famous Lord Gods of Destruction. The battle between Zhang Yang and Borui started again. But the attraction is not as deep as before. Although Borui seems to have entered a state of full firepower, the sight of the gods at this moment is completely attracted by the different space where Beerus and Quitella are. Now, Beerus and Quitella are in a different dimension. Beerus raised his hand and slammed a fist on Quitella's chest, only to hear an explosion and roar, and in the next second, he saw that there was a blood hole in the latter's chest. Tick, 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 drops of blood dripped from Quitella's chest to the ground, and his face turned pale in vain. I surrender. Quitella stammered out the words of admitting defeat. He couldn't help but admit defeat. Although he would not be killed by Beerus, this illusion of facing death still made him terrified. Quitella, have you forgotten? The battle between the gods of destruction did not admit defeat. Beerus said indifferently. That's what he said, but he didn't attack again. At this moment, Quitella is already seriously injured. Although Angel can heal him, the shadow in his heart will definitely accompany him throughout his life. If you continue to fight, I will die by your hands. Quitella's face was extremely gloomy. Beerus grinned, and then continued. I'm very proud to let you understand the truth of misfortune coming out of your mouth. Ha ha ha. Clack clack. Seeing Beerus's proud expression, Quitella's face was extremely gloomy, and he gritted his teeth fiercely. If eyes can kill, I'm afraid this guy has been killed countless times by himself. Ended. The battle between Beerus and Quitella is over. And at this moment, it seems to have sensed that Zhang Yang was in the different space, and he also reduced some of his power, giving the outside gods an illusion that they were evenly matched, ending the battle with Borui. With such a result, the battle ended, and most of the gods of destruction present did not dare to underestimate Zhang Yang, a new candidate for gods of destruction. At least, in the eyes of most gods of destruction, I'm afraid I won't be able to survive a few rounds under Borui's full firepower. However, Zhang Yang, a new candidate for gods of destruction, was able to end the battle with a tie. This shows that in terms of overall strength, this junior has already surpassed them. In this battle, Zhang Yang has completely established his reputation in various universes. After only one battle, the gods all remembered Zhang Yang's name. Everyone understands that the newly promoted candidate for the 7th universe, Gods of Destruction, is very powerful. With Angel's rescue, Quitella's injury is no longer serious, but the shadow in his heart will be with him for a long time. Now, in the 7th universe area, Zhang Yang sat cross-legged on a futon, and a small table was placed in front of him. And now, there are several delicacies on the small table. Zhang Yang, what kind of food is this? After the battle between Zhang Yang and Borui ended, Rebecca came directly to the 7th universe. At this moment, she was staring at the few delicious dishes on the small table, and she almost bled out. This delicacy is called Kyoto roast duck, this delicacy is called boneless chicken feet, this delicacy. Zhang Yang introduced it. This time, the delicacies he brought out were all simple dishes, but they were all delicious. Well, it's so fragrant, so fragrant. It's a shame that May didn't come here. Rebecca howled excitedly. After putting on the gloves, she imitated the eating method taught by Zhang Yang and immediately started to act. Beerus and Whis on the other side were not to be outdone, and started to eat likewise. As for Zhang Yang, he stopped after simply eating 2 slices of Kyoto roast duck. The reason was not that he had no appetite, but that Borui, the gods of destruction of the 13th universe who had just fought against him not far away, slowly walked over with the candidate gods of destruction among his universes. Zhang Yang is not a person who doesn't know how to be polite. He put down his gloves and stood up to greet him. Master Borui, Zhang Yang greeted with a smile. Calling me an adult is too flattering to me. The strong are respected. At least Borui feels that Zhang Yang's strength has not been fully exposed, which means that he may not be Zhang Yang's opponent. Therefore, his posture was not as arrogant as imagined, but faced Zhang Yang with an equal attitude. Zhang Yang smiled without saying a word, looking at Nantuo who was on the side. At this moment, after being treated by Angel, he has no injuries at all. Apart from being a little bit sluggish, there is nothing wrong with him. I apologize for what happened just now. Feeling Zhang Yang's gaze, Nantuo immediately bowed respectfully with his fists folded. No matter in tone or eyes, the candidate for the 13th universe, Gods of Destruction, is not at all unconvinced. Nonsense. Even his master, Borui, was only on equal footing with this one. It was already extremely conservative for him not to kneel down and address Mr. Zhang Yang on the spot. No problem. Zhang Yang waved his hands with a smile, and said, "It's a great thing for young people to have some enthusiasm." Yes. Looking at Zhang Yang's immature face, Nantuo couldn't help but smile awkwardly. "Master Borui, do you want to eat some food from my hometown?" Zhang Yang invited. Borui was silent for a moment towards the three of Rebecca who were eating delicious food, then shook his head and said, "Forget it. If you have a chance, try Zhang Yang from your hometown again. Food. It is good." Zhang Yang nodded. "I have the opportunity to be a guest at the 13th universe." Borui smiled slightly, and then took Nantuo back to the area of the 13th universe and sat down. Zhang Yang also returned to the futon and sat down, but just as he sat down, he looked at the small table and was speechless for a while. Good guy. He had only left for at most 2 or 3 minutes, and when he came back now, the small table of delicacies had almost been eaten. Woo. Rebecca's mouth was swollen at the moment, obviously stuffed with an unknown amount of delicious food. Zhang Yang glanced at it and immediately laughed out of anger. This girl is really a foodie. Belusus addicted man being able to live with Gang Zhang Lang Yang together, I am so happy. Whis on the other side was also slurred, with a lot of delicious food stuffed in his mouth. Zhang Yang slapped his forehead directly, feeling extremely helpless seeing his mouth full of oil. But there is one thing to say, the food this time is indeed the best. It has the crispy taste of Kyoto roast duck, and the hot and sour taste of boneless chicken feet, plus the remaining dishes as a foil. For the food in this Dragon Ball world, it is indeed at the level of a state banquet. Beerus kept eating without saying a word. Zhang Yang couldn't help but sighed with his appearance. The delicious food he brought out was gone after he didn't eat much, it was really miserable enough. But the good thing is that he owns a gourmet restaurant, and he can eat as much as he wants. He immediately reproduced the few delicacies just now, and after Whis cleaned up the previous mess, he placed them on the small table again. While Zhang Yang and his group were eating and drinking, the Gods of Destruction Exchange Conference was already in full swing. Most of the Gods of Destruction in the universe have a certain number in their hearts, so looking for opponents is not much different in combat power, so the point of reaching a consensus is so far. So, round after round of Gods of Destruction fights provided Zhang Yang and his team with a series of good shows. As time went by, Zhang Yang and the others once again filled their stomachs with food. At this time, in the area of the 18th universe, the strongest Gods of Destruction lawbreaker slowly got up from the chair. And as he got up, the eyes of the gods also involuntarily placed on him. What does this guy want? Could it be, does he also want to fight against others? No way. Among the gods present, who can be this one's opponent? As the lawbreaker left the area of the 18th universe, all the gods lowered their heads and began to discuss in a low voice. Zhang Yang. Soon, under the suspicious eyes of the gods, the lawbreaker came to the 7th universe area, and he shouted Zhang Yang's name. In an instant, only the sound of gaze shifting was heard. In the next second, even the two teams of Gods of Destruction, who were still pretending to be fighting, stopped their hands one after another, and slowly turned their gazes to the area of the 7th universe. What the hell does this want to do? The gods were puzzled. The boy is here. Facing the call of the most powerful Gods of Destruction, Zhang Yang slowly stood up from the futon on the ground, then saluted with a smile and cupped his fists. You are fine. A smile appeared on the lawbreaker's face. Zhang Yang was stunned for the lawbreaker's praise. Because, from the extremely stiff smile of the spellbreaker, it is not difficult to see that he rarely smiles. Master Lawbreaker is absurd. Soon, Zhang Yang came back to his senses and responded. Whether it's true or not, I know it very well in my heart. And you, I also know it very well in my heart. The lawbreaker closed his smile, and then said sternly, I have a hunch that I should be able to go a step further in the near future, and then be promoted to the position of great gods of destruction. Zhang Yang's eyes were fixed. So, would you like to succeed me in the 18th universe soon? The lawbreaker's voice is very soft, but to Zhang Yang and even to the surrounding gods, it is undoubtedly not like a bomb thrown into the deep sea, splashing thousands of waves at once. Nani, Master Lawbreaker, actually wants to accept Zhang Yang as his successor. Oh my god, this kid, does this person like him so much? Thinking about it, this newly promoted candidate for the 7th universe, Gods of Destruction, is the best among Gods of Destruction in terms of potential and strength. And Mei, who is the second to break through the shackles of Gods of Destruction, doesn't like fighting, so naturally I will not fight for the name of the strongest Gods of Destruction. ... Discussions sounded, and all the gods around were whispering. Whis, this guy, is poaching me. Now, in the 7th universe area, Beerus frowned as soon as the lawbreaker said this, and his face also showed a displeasure. Can Master Beerus stop it? Whis asked back with a smile. Cannot. Beerus froze. Indeed cannot. He, Beerus, doesn't have the strength to stop the lawbreaker from poaching his sweet pastry. Little Zhang Yang, you shouldn't disappoint Master Beerus. Whis smiled. He could see that Zhang Yang himself didn't have much pursuit of power. Therefore, Zhang Yang will have a great possibility to reject Master Lawbreaker. Master Lawbreaker said that, is it a little too high for me? Zhang Yang's expression was slightly changed, but he didn't show any emotion. Looking at the lawbreaker, he said calmly, you let me, a person who has just been promoted to be the 7th universe candidate Gods of Destruction, become a real the Gods of Destruction is really enough, to trust my ability. As he spoke, a wry smile appeared on his face. This wry smile was not pretended by him, but real. To tell the truth, let alone being the Gods of Destruction of the 18th universe, Zhang Yang would not be happy to be the candidate Gods of Destruction of the 7th universe. Leaving aside the fact that we will share life with Supreme Kai in the future, it is the bondage of that clause that makes Zhang Yang feel as if the Monkey King is wearing a golden hoop, extremely uncomfortable. Strength is greater than everything. Lawbreaker obviously wanted Zhang Yang to be his successor, and said very directly, any lack of ability comes from his lack of strength. This is the end of the lawbreaker's words. To be honest, Zhang Yang really didn't know what to say for a while. Think about it, the time I can give you is quite long. The lawbreaker took a deep look at Zhang Yang, and said. Okay. Zhang Yang smiled and nodded. The fact that the lawbreakers did not persecute him really gave him a lot of favor. After all, if an existence like a lawbreaker really wants to designate you as his successor, you really can't refuse. Come to my 18th universe as a guest when you have time, I think I can give you a lot of help in your cultivation. The lawbreaker slowly stretched out his right hand, and then patted Zhang Yang's shoulder kindly. Receive. Zhang Yang received the lawbreaker's kindness perfectly, and immediately grinned. Zhang Yang returned to sit down in the 7th universe area. Zhang Yang, it looks like Lord Lawbreaker likes you a lot. As soon as she sat down, Rebecca, who was covering her round belly, spoke. Yes. Zhang Yang smiled slightly, but he didn't care about the little teasing in Rebecca's mouth. But to be honest, if I were me, I would also hope that you, Zhang Yang, belong to my 17th universe. Rebecca said. I think, why not Zhang Yang, you should become Gods of Destruction earlier, and then tell the superiors to appoint me as your angel. Hearing this, Zhang Yang was taken aback for a moment, then looked at Whis who was on the side, and said in surprise, Gods of Destruction. Who else can be appointed as his angel? It is logically impossible, but if your strength is strong enough, it is indeed possible. Whis explained with a smile. That's it. Zhang Yang was stunned, but he really didn't have the slightest interest in becoming Gods of Destruction. And, if Rebecca was his angel, in life, who would take care of whom? Zhang Yang, hurry up and become Gods of Destruction. Be it. Rebecca saw that Zhang Yang seemed a little moved. In order to be able to eat delicious food every day, she immediately rolled her eyes, and then her whole body stuck to Zhang Yang's neck and began to act coquettishly. Rebecca, don't be fooling around. Zhang Yang smiled wryly. This Rebecca didn't have the majesty of an angel at all, she was just a little girl. Never mind. Rebecca was determined to be able to eat delicious food every day, so she was shameless and kept acting like a baby in front of the gods around her. For this, Zhang Yang only felt a headache. Just when he didn't know how to solve it, at this time, Mei came slowly, and carried Rebecca, who was holding Zhang Yang's neck, directly back to the area of the 17th universe. Wu, Zhang Yang, I can't bear you, Mei, even if you separate me from Zhang Yang, my heart is still with him. Wu, Mei, after I become Zhang Yang's angel, don't worry, I will pack delicious food for you every day. Zhang Yang, save me. A sad voice came, but it sounded helpless to Zhang Yang. This girl really wants to be able to eat delicious food every day, so she wants to be his angel. But, Zhang Yang looked at the crying Rebecca, and couldn't help but smile. This girl is really cute. This time, the Gods of Destruction Exchange Conference has almost come to an end. And after almost an hour in the realm of gods passed, as the Grand Priest reappeared and announced the successful conclusion of the Gods of Destruction Exchange meeting, all the gods left the venue one after another. Now, beyond the realm of gods. After Zhang Yang, Whis, and Beerus greeted Rebecca and the others, they turned into a beam of light and disappeared directly into the universe. In 7 days, the three of Zhang Yang returned to the world of Gods of Destruction in the 7th universe. For this Gods of Destruction Exchange Conference, Zhang Yang's gains are actually not too obvious, except that the combat power value has increased by 0.1 for no reason. There is no other improvement. I'm going to bed, don't bother me. While talking, Beerus kept yawning, and then flew towards his palace. What's next for little Zhang Yang? Whis asked with a smile. Shouldn't be there for the time being. Wait for a while and then practice retreat. Zhang Yang thought for a while, and finally replied. Come on. Whis smiled gently. Okay, then I'll leave first. After Zhang Yang said this, he disappeared into the Gods of Destruction world. Call out. After Zhang Yang left, Beerus appeared in front of Whis again. Master Beerus isn't sleeping. Whis looked at Beerus in surprise. Beerus snorted coldly. Whis, I want to improve myself. I'm afraid Zhang Yang's strength, no. It should be said that he surpassed me by 100%, so I have to work hard. Otherwise, ghost know where I will be thrown by him. Call out. After Zhang Yang left the Gods of Destruction world, he came directly to the sky above the western capital. Looking at the city below, he was a little hesitant for a moment whether he wanted to live in Exodus. Call out. Call out. Just as Zhang Yang was thinking about it, there were bursts of flying sounds not far away from the sky. These voices pulled Zhang Yang from his thoughts back to reality. He turned his head to look, and when he saw several figures flying towards him, he couldn't help frowning slightly. The few people who came were very familiar to Zhang Yang. The leaders were Piccolo, Tian Xinhan, and Dumplings. Swish swish swish. In just a second, the three of Piccolo had already flown not far from Zhang Yang, and when they found him as a stranger, they all looked at Zhang Yang solemnly. Who are you? Piccolo stared at Zhang Yang, his face extremely serious at the moment. You are. Zhang Yang stared at this Piccolo and was stunned. What happened? How did Piccolo come out? In his memory, wasn't it just IG 749 when he left Earth? Even if the speed of time passing in the realm of God is different from that of the outside world, it is not so outrageous, right? Sir, why are you so awkward? Tian Xinhan's voice sounded. My name is Zhang Yang. Facing his childhood memories, Zhang Yang's attitude is still kind. Since he is not sure now, he will just ask Son Goku later. After a slight smile, he only heard him say, Don't worry, everyone, I know Malice. And, I'm Goku's big brother. Call. Hearing Zhang Yang's words, Piccolo, who was sweating profusely, breathed a sigh of relief. Because this strange man in front of him put too much pressure on him. But, then he reacted. What did the man say? He's Son Goku's big brother. Hearing Zhang Yang's words, Dumpling looked at him vigilantly, and saw the little guy pushed Tian Xinhan, who also took a look at Zhang Yang, and after taking a deep breath, said in a deep voice, It's incredible that there are super masters like you hiding on the earth. There are people beyond people, and there is a sky beyond the sky. Zhang Yang said with a light smile, The so-called strength in your eyes at the moment, in the eyes of some people, is nothing more than mediocre. Nani. Hearing Zhang Yang's words, the faces of Piccolo and others changed drastically. Is there anything more powerful than you? Tian Xinhan was shocked. In his opinion, Zhang Yang, who just leaked a little breath inexplicably, was scary enough. Unexpectedly, this super expert would say that there is an existence stronger than him. This, how not to shock those present who have not seen the world. Hearing what you said, it seems that Son Goku did say that there is a big brother who is many times stronger than him. That person is you. A flash of inspiration flashed in Piccolo's mind. As if he remembered something, he suddenly exclaimed and said, "If nothing else, it should be me." Zhang Yang smiled slightly. "No, the elder brother that Son Goku said has disappeared for 12 years. Piccolo frowned again, and held a suspicious attitude towards Zhang Yang again. 12 years. Hearing what Piccolo said, Zhang Yang was stunned. He didn't remember how long he had been in the realm of gods, and he didn't even have 24 hours. But just like that, a full 12 years have passed by the outside world. Horrible. Zhang Yang was speechless for a while. He lost 12 years of practice for no reason. How could this not make him feel speechless? I will never participate in the next Gods of Destruction Exchange Conference. Zhang Yang complained endlessly in his heart, and now he finally understood why the Grand Priest left after announcing the start, and came after the end to announce the end. Stop talking nonsense, I'll take you to Goku first. Zhang Yang is not in a very good mood at the moment. Anyone who disappears for 12 years without any reason will be unhappy. Immediately, he directly carried Piccolo and the others to the place where Son Goku was at the moment. Turtle Island. Now, suddenly, Zhang Yang and others appeared. Boom! The three of Piccolo were dropped on the beach from a low altitude by Zhang Yang. The sound attracted the attention of Master Roshi, who was basking in the sun not far away, and turned his head to look at it, and he was frightened silly with just one glance. That man who disappeared for 12 years actually reappeared. Base. Immediately, Master Roshi jumped up from the beach chair, and then shouted, "Woo! Goku!" Now, Son Goku, who was teasing little Gohan in the room, heard Master Roshi's call, and immediately walked out with his son in his arms. The moment he walked out of the room, he involuntarily set his eyes on Zhang Yang on the beach, and then a look of surprise appeared on his face, followed by endless excitement. "Brother Zhang Yang, I haven't seen you for 12 years. When we meet again, Son Goku is so excited. Long time no see, little Goku." Zhang Yang looked at Son Goku, who was half a head shorter than himself, with a nostalgic smile on his face. The little kid who used to only grow up to his thigh is now only half a head shorter than him, which really made Zhang Yang feel a lot of emotion. Now, on the beach of Guixian Island, Zhang Yang and his group sat around a table. "Brother Zhang Yang, where have you been these past 12 years? Son Goku held the little Gohan and asked aloud. "I went to a place where the flow of time is different from the outside world." Zhang Yang smiled bitterly. "You can think of it as a place similar to the spiritual time room in heaven." "I see." Hearing this explanation, Son Goku immediately understood. Buzz buzz. At this moment, there was a sudden sound of a helicopter in the sky. Zhang Yang and others looked and saw a helicopter slowly descending from a high altitude. "It must be Bulma coming." Son Goku laughed. Over the years, Bulma has spent great pains in order to find the trace of Zhang Yang. Even collected 7 Dragon Balls more than once to ask Shenron Zhang Yang's trace, but the result was that Zhang Yang's trace could not be found. Soon, the helicopter flew to a low altitude, and Bulma jumped out of it, and then jumped into Zhang Yang's arms in a few steps. Woo woo woo. Bulma started to cry directly, crying out all the grievances of 12 years. "You, bad guy, big bad guy. Do you know how long I have been looking for you? Really, a little news don't even tell me about it. It's too hateful. Woo, you are so hateful. I hate Zhang Yang the most. What a villain." Seeing this scene, Son Goku coughed twice, then got up and left with little Gohan in his arms. Piccolo and others were also very sensible and followed Son Goku to get up and leave. Soon, only Zhang Yang and Bulma weeping in his arms were left on the beach. My problem. Sorry. Zhang Yang was helpless in the face of the crying Bulma, but how did he know that the time difference between the God realm and the outside world would be so outrageous? Woo woo woo. Bulma was crying all the time and couldn't stop. For this, Zhang Yang smiled wryly, but kept patting Bulma's back, not knowing how to comfort her for a while. As an old straight man, to be honest, he is really good at comforting women. So, he just silently accompanied the crying Bulma. Soon, Bulma cried for almost an hour, and then slowly got out of Zhang Yang's arms. She looked at Zhang Yang's soaked blouse, and couldn't help feeling embarrassed. Zhang Yang, I'm sorry, I just miss you so much, that's why. I'm so rude. Bulma lowered her head. It's okay. Zhang Yang chuckled, and at the same time, the energy in his body was slightly extracted, and his soaked top immediately recovered. At this moment, Zhang Yang frowned suddenly, and then turned his head to look in a certain direction, and then a little bit of astonishment appeared on his face, and then a funny look appeared on his face. Raditz, coming. It was 749A when he left the Earth, and he disappeared for 12 years, so the timeline at this moment is 761A. And in the year 761 of IG, Raditz also came to the Earth. Footsteps sounded, it was Son Goku and others. Brother Zhang Yang. You feel it? Son Goku looked at the distant sky with a solemn expression, and said in a deep voice. Zhang Yang nodded. At this moment, a bright light suddenly flickered in the distant sky. Under the gazes of everyone, a meteor was slowly passing by, and finally fell into the sea. Coming. Son Goku's gaze was fixed, and then he stepped forward a few steps, staring at the deep sea intently. He could feel the strength of this comber. This breath is a bit familiar. Son Goku looked into the deep sea with a little surprise on his face. Now that he thinks back, he once heard about his own life on the journey with Zhang Yang to find the Dragon Ball, and he knows that there are still some Saiyans out there. Now, this familiar breath, if he didn't feel wrong, it should also be a Saiyan. It's Raditz. Zhang Yang smiled slightly. Crash. At this moment, there was a change in the deep sea. Everyone looked at it, and saw a Saiyan wearing Saiyan's combat uniform, wearing combat power detection glasses on his left eye, and a long flowing black hair. Slowly flew over the beach. Kakarot, my good brother. Now, Raditz was floating above the heads of the crowd, and he folded his arms and looked down at Son Goku and the group. The two looked alike, and Son Goku could tell, his brows furrowed. It was obvious that he had a bad feeling for Saiyan. What did you come to Earth to do? Son Goku questioned. Kakarot, King Vegeta is going to invade a planet recently, and he needs manpower, so I came here to find you. Raditz raised his hand and lightly tapped the combat power detection glasses on his left eye, and found that the highest combat power of this group was Son Gohan, who was holding Son Goku's leg on one side, and sneered, unexpectedly, you gave birth to a good boy. Son, at such a young age, you have 1,000 combat points. Son Gohan and Son Goku looked exactly the same when they were kids, so it's not surprising that Raditz recognized Son Goku's son at a glance. Hearing Raditz's words, the little Gohan who hugged Son Goku's thigh immediately shrank his body behind his father. Oh, at this moment, Raditz suddenly saw Zhang Yang again. At this moment, he could not help but twitch his brows, and then said in surprise, Saiyan. You are also Saiyan. As he spoke, the astonishment on his face deepened. According to his understanding, since that catastrophe, there are only a few Saiyans, and this strange Saiyan in front of him really makes him feel strange. Diddy. Immediately, Raditz knocked on his combat power detection glasses, and only heard a sound, and then Zhang Yang's combat power appeared. 1,500 points. Oh, it actually has 1,500 combat power, which is pretty good. Raditz had a look of surprise on his face. You know, the current Raditz combat power is only 1,500 points, and this strange Saiyan can be on the same level as him, which is a step closer to their Saiyan's rise. Hearing Raditz's words, Zhang Yang chuckled lightly. At the same time, he revealed his aura a little bit. Didi. Nani. 3,000 combat power. As Zhang Yang revealed a little breath, Raditz found that this guy's combat power gradually rose from 1,500 points, and finally reached 3,000 points of combat power. How is it possible? How could you have 3,000 combat power? Raditz's face changed. He remembered that this guy only had 1,500 combat power just now, but now in just a few seconds, he directly reached 3,000 combat power. This change, how not to shock Raditz? 3,000 combat power. Zhang Yang grinned. He was very satisfied with Raditz's appearance at the moment, and immediately raised his breath a little. Boom. The astonishing aura directly frightened the eyeballs of Raditz in the sky widen. 10,000 combat power. Raditz exclaimed. No. Far more than that, this guy's combat power is still rising, and it's still rising crazily. 20,000, 30,000, 40,000, 50,000, 60,000. My god, it's still going up. My god, 100,000. How on earth did you practice? That Saiyan can reach a combat power of 100,000. Raditz fell from a high altitude, and his mentality could not be stabilized at this moment. At this moment, his situation is undoubtedly a guy who suddenly became rich, and then came to a place where he thought he was very poor. When he, an upstart, wants to show off his amazing financial resources and is ready to pretend. However, he was surprised to find that in this poor place, diamonds and gold can be seen everywhere, and even the urinals placed at the door of a house are all antiques worth all his worth. Terrible. 100,000 combat points. Except for a team captain under Frieza, he had never seen such a powerful existence. Now, he saw it, and this person turned out to be a Saiyan. Brother Zhang Yang, whom Goku has said more than once, is really extremely powerful. Zhang Yang's slight display of combat power not only shocked Raditz, but Piccolo and others on the other side also felt their scalps go numb from the shock. It's horrible, this breath. It seems that trying to catch up with Brother Zhang Yang. I'm afraid it will be very difficult. Son Goku looked at Zhang Yang's back, feeling a little heavy in his heart. Who are you? With a look of horror on his face, Raditz slowly climbed up from the beach, looked at Zhang Yang and said without a word. You don't need to know who I am. Zhang Yang said lightly. Cluck. Faced with such a high-profile Zhang Yang, Raditz dared not speak out. After all, he only had 1,500 combat power points. How could he show any displeasure when facing Zhang Yang with 100,000 combat power points? What the adults said is true, what the adults said is true. Raditz smiled apologetically, and then said to Son Goku behind Zhang Yang, this time I came to Earth, I came under the order of King Vegeta. Kakarot, my younger brother, will go with me to the universe. Let's fight. Sorry, I won't leave Earth. Son Goku took a step forward, looked at Raditz and said in a deep voice. Huh, how dare you disobey King Vegeta's order? Raditz was submissive when facing Zhang Yang, and he didn't dare to increase the decibel a little bit, but when facing Son Goku, he stared angrily, just like a big man facing a small man. Hey, Raditz, right, you're Goku's big brother, but... At this time, Krillin stood up, his words were full of displeasure. Boom. Before Krillin finished speaking, Raditz raised his hand and blasted him away with a finger cannon. Krillin, seeing this scene, Son Goku's expression changed drastically. Boom. In an instant, his aura rose up. Cut. Seeing that Son Goku hadn't reached 1,000 points of combat power, Raditz's mouth suddenly curled up with a hint of sarcasm. Ha! At this moment, Zhang Yang yawned lightly, this kind of scene was indeed quite boring for him. Hearing Zhang Yang's yawn, Raditz's expression changed. Only then did he remember that this strange Saiyan with a combat power of 100,000 points was also on Earth, and he seemed to be on good terms with Kakarot. And he is so arrogant at the moment. It is inevitable that there is some disrespect for this person. Thinking of this, Raditz couldn't help being startled. After swallowing, he looked at Son Goku who was staring at him angrily, and said coldly, Kakarot, I advise you to think carefully. Serve King Vegeta's son, that is our honor. After saying this, he turned his attention to Zhang Yang again, his body bent down in vain at this moment, and said with a smile, My lord, if there is a chance, I will take you to meet King Vegeta. I think he would be more than happy to meet you. Zhang Yang glanced at him indifferently and ignored him. Regarding Zhang Yang's attitude, Raditz didn't dare to say a fart. He just laughed a few times, then turned around and flew away from Guixian Island. Zhang Yang doesn't have much interest in Raditz, and he doesn't have the idea of being a babysitter for Son Goku and others. After all, what can be solved in the original book, he doesn't believe that in reality, Son Goku and others can't solve the little problem of Raditz. Krillin. Seeing Raditz leave, Son Goku hurriedly ran to Krillin who was blown away and squatted down, his face was full of worry. Woo, Goku, I'm fine, ahem. Krillin forced himself to show a smile, but with a violent cough, a stream of blood spewed out immediately. Krillin. Son Goku was angry and distressed. When Zhang Yang arrived, he gave Keelan a fairy bean directly, and then said, Raditz, you should be careful, he won't just give up and let you follow him to leave the earth. I see. Seeing that Keelan recovered after eating the fairy beans, Son Goku breathed a sigh of relief, and said to Zhang Yang, thanks to you, brother Zhang Yang, otherwise. Son Goku sighed heavily as he spoke. He thought he was already very powerful now, but with the appearance of Raditz, he understood that his so-called strength was extremely powerful in front of more powerful people. Ridiculous. Thinking of this, Son Goku took a deep breath, then looked at Zhang Yang, and said in a deep voice, Brother Zhang Yang, may I ask you for a favor? Say it. Zhang Yang nodded. Can you guide me in my practice? Son Goku wants to become stronger too much, not only wanting to catch up with the footsteps of this big brother Zhang Yang, but also wanting to protect what he wants to protect. Well, Zhang Yang thought for a while, and just when he was about to nod his head in response, suddenly, a voice came from his ear. Zhang Yang, where did you go? Why aren't you in the Gods of Destruction world? Chapter 51. Zhang Yang, where have you been? Why aren't you in the Gods of Destruction world? The voice came. Zhang Yang's eyes flickered, and he heard the voice of Anna, the 15th Universe Angel. I'm on a planet, what's wrong, Miss Anna? Zhang Yang replied via audio transmission. We are waiting for you in the realm of Gods of Destruction in the 7th Universe. Anna's voice continued. Zhang Yang was taken aback, us. In this way, I am afraid there are still many people. After all, if there are only Anna and Buzz, Anna only needs to talk about her and Buzz, which is talking about us, obviously there are still some people around. Understood, I'll be back later. After Zhang Yang said this, he directly cut off the contact with Anna. Goku, I have some things that I need to leave for a while. As for guiding your practice, I will give you a gravity room where you can get used to it. I think it will be of great help to your practice. Zhang Yang looked at Son Goku, whose face was full of anticipation, pondered for a moment, and said. As he spoke, he directly took out a 200 times controllable gravity chamber from the system space. Looking at the gravity chamber in front of them, Son Goku and others couldn't help but widen their eyes. Clap. Zhang Yang patted Son Goku's shoulder lightly and said with a smile, trust me, it will give you a very big surprise. Gravity room practice. This is the most perfect way to improve Dragon Ball in the early stage. Zhang Yang, are you going to leave again? At this time, Bulma's very sad voice sounded. Don't worry, it won't be too long this time. Zhang Yang smiled slightly, he knew Bulma's heart for him. 12 years of pursuit and waiting, anyone will be moved. However, for the time being, he does have some things to deal with, so he can only spend time with Bulma after that. I'm waiting for you. Bulma stepped forward and hugged Zhang Yang tightly, then thought about it, kissed him quickly on the face, and then ran away shyly. This girl. Zhang Yang touched his cheek, showing a smile, then waved goodbye to Son Goku and others, and then the figure flickered for a moment and disappeared from everyone's sight. Brother Zhang Yang is really elusive. Son Goku stared blankly at where Zhang Yang was standing before, then set his sights on the gravity chamber on the beach, then took a deep breath, and said in a deep voice, everyone, for what we all want to protect, you must become stronger and stronger. Now, 7th Universe Gods of Destruction Realm. When Zhang Yang arrived, everyone's eyes were on him instantly. Zhang Yang glanced around, and called him a good guy in his heart. 15th Universe Angel Anna, Gods of Destruction Buzz. 17th Universe Angel Rebecca, Gods of Destruction May, and Candidate Gods of Destruction Oman. 6th Universe Angel Vados, Gods of Destruction Champa. Zhang Yang, you are finally back. Hurry up, I was very hungry for your delicious food in the realm of gods before. Champa ran over directly, then put his arms around Zhang Yang's shoulders, and said in a low voice, the two of us are kind of friendly, and we will hang out with you for a while. Cough cough cough, after a meal, can you pack it up and bring me back to the 6th universe? No problem. When it comes to food, Zhang Yang can be said to be responsive. After all, this is to promote his great China's delicacies in a different world. This kind of cultural invasion, Zhang Yang is very happy to promote. Hey, I'll thank you in advance. Champa patted his round belly excitedly, and grinned cheerfully. This time it's here, clean up. Anna walked slowly, and nodded to Zhang Yang with a smile. There is nothing to disturb or not to disturb. Zhang Yang has a good impression of Anna. This angel's personality is as tender as water, just like the woman from the Zhongnan water village in the Great China in his previous life. Of course, this time, I won't eat in vain. Anna smiled and said, I heard from Rebecca that she gave you an angel blessing for Sangfan. So, this time I am also going to pay my own food expenses. Hearing Anna's words, Zhang Yang was stunned. At this time, Vados also came. She glanced indifferently at Anna, who is also angel, and she followed suit. Zhang Yang, don't worry, our sixth universe will also pay our food expenses. The obvious substitute for food expenses is angel blessing. Hearing this, Zhang Yang opened his mouth a little bit, and subconsciously looked at Rebecca on the side. How could he not understand when he found that this girl was making faces for him? Food expenses. It was definitely brought up by this girl. In this regard, Zhang Yang's affection for Rebecca was soaring. Quote. Hearing what Vados and Anna said, Whis on the side suddenly blinked, with a little embarrassment on his face. So, if he doesn't pay the food expenses, will he have trouble getting through? But, he has no chance. An angel, there are only 2 opportunities for angel blessing in a lifetime. And Whis had given out twice before, even if he wanted to pay for the food, he couldn't pay it. And, if he had the opportunity to give Zhang Yang the angel blessing, he would have given Zhang Yang the angel blessing a long time ago. How can he wait until this so-called food expense appears? Not much to say. Vados and Anna, who were holding the angel staff, slowly approached Zhang Yang, and soon began the angel blessing. Although Vados and Anna did not give Zhang Yang the perfect angel blessing, but because the 2 angels gave him the angel blessing at the same time, the effect can still be compared to a perfect angel blessing. Angel blessing duet. This kind of scene is not easy to see. Seeing Zhang Yang being slowly wrapped into a small giant egg by the silver light stream, Beerus, Buzz and Champa all looked at each other in unison, and then sighed in an extremely envious tone. Although they were really envious, the 3 of them didn't feel jealous at all. Boom, 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 field. The little giant egg that Zhang Yang turned into made a beating sound like a heart. Seeing this scene, Rebecca and May glanced at each other, then turned their backs and walked over. Rebecca, Mrs. May, what are you doing when you turn around? Oman was a little strange on the side. Stop talking nonsense, just follow us and turn around. Rebecca snorted. Okay. Oman glanced at the little dome in the field strangely, and then turned around according to Rebecca's words. 10 seconds later. What? 2 exclamations pierced the sky of the 7th universe gods of destruction. He. Then Zhang Yang laughed awkwardly. Being naked in front of Vados and Anna, Zhang Yang would be lying if he said he was not embarrassed, but he would also be lying if he said he was unhappy. It's not that he has any bad habits, but that he found that the ability to turn back time under his control has increased to as much as 1 minute. Host. Zhang Yang. Bloodline. Saiyan. Combat Strength. Angel Level Combat Strength 13.1. Skills. Flash time for 5 seconds, 50 times Kaioken without side effects, advanced version of instant transmission, 70% chance to kill attribute effects, 70% chance to weaken attribute effects, 2nd stage Ultra Instinct, Angel Power, time reversal 1 minute. Items. Unlimited Multiple Gravity Room, Unlimited Gourmet House, Shondo 999+, Super Dragon Ball X3. After getting dressed, Zhang Yang checked his character attribute panel. The value of combat power has not changed, but his previously shallow angel power has become angel power. Don't underestimate the lack of 3 words, the meaning of which is completely different. At this moment, what he contained in his body was pure angel power, not the shallow angel power that remained in his body before. To put it another way, the previous superficial angel power could not be perfectly used by him, but the current angel power can be perfectly used by him. In a sense, he's half an angel now. Of course, his description of angel is only based on angel's ability. How? This time the angel blessing duo, how much angel's power have you absorbed? At this time, Rebecca jumped up, stretched out her little hand to grope Zhang Yang a few times, and then asked. It's quite a lot. Zhang Yang whispered. the ability to turn back time under control has increased to as much as 1 minute. So smart. Rebecca was really shocked when she heard the news. After she gave Jongyang the angel blessing last time, this guy seemed to be in control of 30 seconds of time reversal. Now it has reached as much as 1 minute, that is to say, this guy's ability to turn back time is also growable. Your bloodline is obviously not angel bloodline, but it is compatible with the power of angel left in your body. It's really strange. Rebecca was very puzzled. She had never encountered such a thing. I don't know that either. Jongyang shook his head, not to mention that Rebecca felt strange, even he himself felt very strange. Don't waste your brain thinking too much if you don't understand, Jongyang. Hurry up, I can't wait to eat. Champa ran over excitedly. He misses Jongyang's food so much. It makes sense. Jongyang is not the kind of person who likes to dig into the dead end. If he can't figure it out for a while, then don't think about it. One day, he will figure out why. Next, Jongyang brought out at least 80 different Chinese delicacies from the gourmet restaurant. Don't think that these 80 different delicacies are too many, and no one in the room eats less. And even if you usually eat less, under the temptation of Chinese delicacies, you will reach the point where your stomach can take a boat, and everyone will be willing to enjoy delicious food conservatively. Therefore, Jongyang later brought out a total of 20 delicacies, a total of 100 delicacies, which directly made everyone feel good. After a few hours, looking at the extremely clean plates on the floor, and taking another look at Champa, Buzz, and Beerus lying on the ground in a funny posture, Jongyang couldn't help laughing when his belly grew a whole circle. Jongyang. At this moment, Rebecca, who had eaten at least 30 courses of delicacies by herself, came. Her lovely face was full of red, and there were some beads of sweat on her forehead. Jongyang could tell, this girl must be so hot. What, still want to eat? Jongyang teased and said, you are not afraid of being eaten as a chubby girl. Look at Ms. Anna and the others, although they eat a lot, how can you be so unrestrained? HMPH. I'm still young, and I'm still growing. Rebecca raised her head and snorted coquettishly, then stretched out her right hand and said with a smile, Jongyang, give me some dessert after dinner. You. Jongyang rubbed the girl's head, and the girl stuck her up very obediently, and rubbed Jongyang's hand, then looked up at Jongyang obediently, blinking her big smart eyes. God. Jongyang is almost enough to be cute by this little girl's appearance at the moment. Cute. To be honest, Jongyang thinks he is not a lolicon, but the cuteness of this Rebecca is simply invincible. Jongyang can assure you that if there was a girl like Rebecca in the Dragon Ball anime in her previous life, she would definitely be called a new generation of cute king by many anime fans. You must know that a Mo King-like character is born in an anime, which can definitely elevate an anime to a terrifying height. Although Dragon Ball is tall enough for this anime. But who can refuse the opportunity to be higher? It is good. Facing the small request from the cute King Rebecca, Jongyang really didn't want to refuse at all, and immediately took at least hundreds of small desserts of different flavors from the gourmet house and put them into the capsules. Hey, thank you. Rebecca took the capsule, and immediately shook her head happily, the beating of the twin ponytails doing that obeyed Jongyang almost sprouted into Jongyang's heart. To be reasonable, at this moment, Jongyang even had the idea of being the 18th universe gods of destruction, and then asking Rebecca to be his angel. But, after all, reason is narrowly superior to desire. Jongyang understands that as the gods of destruction of the 18th universe, what awaits him is probably endless bondage. He loves freedom, but he doesn't want to be bound in a universe at all. For him, that kind of life is too boring. Rebecca, who got the small dessert capsules, jumped away. Jongyang looked at her back, smiled lightly and shook his head. This girl Rebecca can really be regarded as a little angel. Although, this little girl is indeed a little angel. Jongyang. When Jongyang was feeling emotional, Anna came slowly from the side. Miss Anna. Jongyang regained his composure, and greeted Anna with a smile. Just call me Anna. Anna smiled. The gentleness of this angel comes from the heart, and every frown and smile of hers expresses her gentle heart. The food this time, is it to your taste? Jongyang saw everyone's food, but this angel was the one who ate the least in the room, which made him think that the food this time did not suit her taste. This time's gourmet feast is very suitable for my taste. Anna smiled slightly, then took a second look at Zhang Yang, and then said, but I have a small request, and I don't know if you agree or not. Tell me. Zhang Yang's eyes flickered for a while, but he didn't agree immediately. It's not that he doesn't want to agree, but what if he can't fulfill what Anna said? After you become the gods of destruction of the 18th universe, appoint me to be your angel. Anna spoke in a soft voice, and then lightly brushed her ear hair, like a big sister next door, which was extremely exciting. Zhang Yang was stunned when he saw this scene. At this moment, he was absolutely sure that it was not her ears and hair that Anna was teasing, but his heart. Soon, Zhang Yang regained his composure, coughed twice, looked elsewhere, and said, I'm the gods of destruction of the 18th universe, it's not sure yet. It's okay. Anna was as gentle as ever, stepped forward, moved closer to Zhang Yang, and whispered in his ear, you are currently a candidate for gods of destruction in the 7th universe, and one day, you will become the real gods of destruction. I'm not in a hurry, as long as you become the real gods of destruction one day. After saying this, Anna took a step back, then waved to Zhang Yang with a smile, and then walked slowly towards the back. Looking at Anna's back, Zhang Yang couldn't help but blinked, and then scratched the back of his head. He was indeed a little strange that Anna wanted to be his angel. After all, Rebecca wants to be his angel because of his food. As for Anna, he couldn't figure out what the purpose was. Still the same sentence, Zhang Yang couldn't figure it out, and he didn't bother to think about it. From Anna's eyes, he didn't think this angel had any bad thoughts about him. Generally speaking, the arrival of Anna and others in the 7th universe gods of destruction world this time is a great fortune for Zhang Yang. Now, the home of Zhang Yang, western capital of the earth. In the living room, he sat on the sofa. The power of this angel is really mysterious. Zhang Yang stretched out his index finger, and saw a milky white airflow flickering at his fingertips. This was the power of the angel in his body, and it had been completely used by him. But the mysteries are infinite and the mysteries are infinite. It is true that the power of angel can be used by him, but it is still a bit difficult for him now to realize the higher level of angel's ability from it. Even relying on himself, I am afraid that poor G will not be able to comprehend anything from it in his entire life. The reason is not that his comprehension is not enough, but that this is something of angel, and only the existence of angel's blood can comprehend the power of angel. By the way, if they know that I directly control angel's power, their jaws will probably drop in shock, right? Zhang Yang looked at the milky white air current dancing at his fingertips, and the corners of his mouth raised slightly. In the following time, Zhang Yang settled in Exodus. Since Bulma knew that Zhang Yang lived in Exodus, he also came to Zhang Yang every day. The relationship between the two is getting closer and closer. Although they haven't really become lovers yet, it can be seen from the way the two look at each other that the two are only a layer away from being pierced. IG 762, a day in October. Zhang Yang had just walked out of the gravity room, and before he checked his character attribute panel, several strange breaths suddenly entered his senses, which made his brows twitch slightly. Vegeta. Zhang Yang narrowed his eyes slightly. In this period of time, apart from that guy Vegeta who came to the Earth, I really can't think of anyone else who will come to the Earth. Thinking of this, Zhang Yang pointed his index finger between his eyebrows, and then disappeared directly into the backyard of Exodus' home. Call out. The next second, when Zhang Yang reappeared, he had already arrived on Guixian Island. Looking down at the 200 times controllable gravity chamber on the beach, a smile flashed in Zhang Yang's eyes. During this year on Earth, it was not the first time he had seen Son Goku. The boy's combat power was only a few hundred points a year ago. During the meeting 3 months ago, Zhang Yang discovered that this kid's combat power had increased dozens of times, reaching a terrifying 18,000 combat power. Now, another 3 months have passed, which made Zhang Yang wonder how much this kid has grown. In fact, according to Son Goku's combat effectiveness today, he doesn't need to come here at all today. But today is Vegeta. This kid, he felt that it was really necessary to meet. Anyway, it was his childhood memory. Clatter. Zhang Yang landed on the beach and started walking. Host. Zhang Yang. Bloodline. Saiyan. Combat strength. Angel level combat strength 13.3. Skills. Flash time for 5 seconds, 50 times Kaioken without side effects, advanced version of instant transmission, 70% chance to kill attribute effects, 70% chance to weaken attribute effects, second stage Ultra Instinct, Angel Power, time reversal 1 minute. Items. Unlimited multiple gravity room, unlimited gourmet house, Shondo 999 plus, Super Dragon Ball X3. Looking at his character attribute panel, Zhang Yang is very satisfied with his current combat power value. If I had known earlier, his combat power value was only 13.1 points a year ago. Now, on the premise of not getting any rewards for retreat, just simply practiced for a few months, and the value of combat strength has increased by 0.2 points. It can be seen that after being blessed by Angel 3 times, his physique has indeed changed, significant change. Zhang Yang, you are here. The sound came, pulling Zhang Yang from his thoughts back to reality. He looked in the direction of the voice, and saw Master Roshi lying on the beach chair basking in the sun as always, holding an upside-down beauty magazine in his hand. Coming, Zhang Yang waved his hand in greeting, and then looked towards the gravity chamber. At this moment, the door of the gravity room opened slowly. Son Goku walked out first, and then Piccolo, Keelan, Tien Shinhan and other Z fighters followed slowly. Brother Zhang Yang. Seeing Zhang Yang, Son Goku immediately waved his hand and greeted him enthusiastically. Then Keelan and the others waved their hands a little cautiously to say hello. Zhang Yang responded with a smile and waved his hands one by one. At this moment, Son Goku suddenly turned his head to look at the distant sky, and his brows were furrowed. What's wrong, Goku? Although Klin's current strength is much stronger than that of the original book, his perception is far inferior to that of Son Goku. There are 3 breaths coming towards Guaxian Island at a very high speed. One of them is very familiar, it is Raditz who came to Earth a year ago. Son Goku said in a deep voice. Raditz. Hearing Son Goku's words, Keelan and the others were startled. But then, they laughed. In a year's time, they have become too strong. Today's Z fighters and others are not afraid of that guy a year ago at all. It's just right, let me avenge what I did a year ago later. Keelan squeezed his fist excitedly, and there was a crisp, click, click, click. Hearing this, Zhang Yang looked at Keelan. The little bald man's current strength has reached 3,000 points, which is more than a little bit stronger than him in the original book. According to Raditz, who only had 1,500 combat power a year ago, Kling is already a super master he can't beat. Call out, call out, call out. While everyone was talking, 3 streamers of light suddenly struck from the distant sky, and 3 bursts of air sounded in the next second, and then the 3 Saiyans stood high above the sky, looking indifferently at the people below. Raditz, are these guys Kakarot and the others? Vegeta's eyes at the moment are looking down on everything, not paying attention to the people below at all. Yes, son of King Vegeta, that one, is also down there. Do you want to go down and say hello? Raditz glanced at everyone below, and finally met Zhang Yang who was looking at them with a faint smile. The fear in his heart rose in vain, and he reminded him in a low voice. With 100,000 combat power, I am indeed qualified to meet him. Vegeta looked down from a high altitude, his eyes locked on Zhang Yang for an instant, and then slowly fell. Rustle. 3 people walking on the beach. Ah. Keelan kept his eyes on Raditz, and the latter seemed to sense something. Instead of meeting his gaze, a cold smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. He thought he had killed this little bald head a year ago, but now it seems that he is still alive and well. What a lucky scum. Hello, my people. The 3 of Vegeta quickly walked in front of Zhang Yang. Although his combat power was not as strong as the Saiyan in front of him, in terms of status, he thought he was much nobler than this guy. Therefore, the way Vegeta looks at Zhang Yang has a slight sense of a superior looking at a subordinate. My lord, this is King Vegeta, this. Raditz met Zhang Yang once, and introduced him to him, but when he wanted to introduce Zhang Yang, he got stuck. Because he didn't know Zhang Yang's name at all. So, my lord, what is your name? Raditz smiled awkwardly, then bowed very humbly to Zhang Yang, and asked aloud. Seeing Raditz face Zhang Yang so humbly, Nappa frowned slightly. In his opinion, Raditz, as King Vegeta's confidant, even in front of a more powerful person of the same race, there is no need to make such a humble gesture. So, Raditz is pure embarrassment to the venerable King Vegeta's son. Now, Vegeta's eyes narrowed slightly. Raditz's humbleness really displeased him. Zhang Yang saw the expressions of Vegeta and Nappa in his eyes, and he felt amused for a while. He hadn't even started to fight against foreign enemies, but he had already begun to fight among himself. Zhang Yang. When Vegeta heard Zhang Yang's name, he frowned slightly. To be honest, the name was too unfamiliar, or maybe it wasn't Saiyan's name at all. How did you survive the explosion on planet Vegeta? Vegeta didn't bother to worry about Zhang Yang's name, and asked aloud with a high profile. Regarding Vegeta's high profile, Zhang Yang was speechless for a while. This kid, the Saiyan clan has already existed in name only, so how can he put on a princely posture here? That, King Vegeta's son, right? Zhang Yang coughed twice, took a step forward, and then said, maybe Raditz didn't tell you that my combat power has reached as much as 100,000 points. So what? Nappa smiled coldly on the side, and said behind Vegeta, I tell you, you are Saiyan, no matter how high your combat power is, you are the subordinate of His Royal Highness King Vegeta. I didn't ask you to kneel down to King Vegeta when I met you for the first time, it's already a huge concession to you. He. While speaking, Nappa let out a cold laugh. After Nappa's words came out, the faint smile on Zhang Yang's face deepened a little. Are you finished? Zhang Yang looked at Nappa with a smile. How? Nappa was not afraid that Zhang Yang's fighting power was higher than him, and looked at him indifferently. Nothing. Zhang Yang smiled and shook his head, then stepped out. Call out. The sound of breaking the air sounded. In the next second, under everyone's shocked eyes, Nappa's neck was grabbed by Zhang Yang, and she was slowly lifted from the beach. Nappa was shocked, and spit out a word in shock. Click. The strength in Zhang Yang's hand was slightly stronger, which directly made Nappa unable to speak, and could only struggle weakly. Although I am a Saiyan, I really hate Saiyans like you. Zhang Yang's voice sounded in the field, and a little reminiscence appeared in his eyes. When he was on planet Vegeta, most of the Saiyans around King Vegeta are the true portrayal of Nappa now. Stupid, arrogant. As he spoke, Zhang Yang's eyelids drooped a little. Boom. At this moment, a dazzling golden light appeared on his hand. In the next second, a shock cannon was fired and flew into the sky with the Nappa in his hand. Rumble. The shock gun exploded in the sky, and there were deafening roars. Seeing this scene, Vegeta's pupils constricted for a while, and a little frightened expression appeared on his face at this moment. A smell of death threats. It has spread in the surrounding air. Don't worry, I'm not very interested in killing you. Zhang Yang glanced indifferently at Vegeta and Raditz, who was trembling from top to bottom, and said, but, what happened to that guy? I think, the honorable son of King Vegeta you won't think that you can give orders to me just because you are a prince. No. Not anymore. Feeling Zhang Yang's extremely indifferent eyes, Vegeta lowered his head subconsciously, and heard the sound like a mosquito flapping its wings. I am. The noble King Vegeta. You actually bowed your head to such a guy. Zhang Yang. For making me so humiliated, I will kill you one day. Vegeta perfectly interprets duplicity. At this moment, he has a complete recognition of Zhang Yang's strength on his face, but he has already prepared in his heart that after becoming stronger in the future, the guy named Zhang Yang will be the first to be slaughtered. Such is the character of Vegeta. In the early stage, he was able to temporarily attach himself to Frieza, a person he hated so much, in order to survive. However, he definitely wanted to kill Frieza more than once in his heart. Just like now, although he recognized Zhang Yang's strength on the surface, but in his heart he planned not to let him get the chance, otherwise he would definitely tear this guy into pieces. Seeing Vegeta, who lowered his head but trembling slightly, the corners of Zhang Yang's mouth raised slightly. What this guy thinks in his heart, even if he doesn't have telepathy, he can still see Chen. After all, this fellow Vegeta has never convinced anyone. Brother Zhang Yang, how do you deal with these two guys? Son Goku stepped forward, looked at Vegeta and Raditz coldly. He had no sense of belonging to this so-called Saiyan prince and real big brother. Follow you, Zhang Yang said lightly. After 1 year of practice, your strength has surpassed this King Vegeta and Raditz. If you want to kill them, then kill them. Hearing this, Vegeta and Raditz trembled a bit. Vegeta and Raditz set their sights on Son Goku. Didi. The combat power detection glasses began to ring in unison. 10,000, 15,000, 20,000. After a while, the index on the combat power detection glasses of the two reached 23,000 points. Nani. Seeing this, both Vegeta and Raditz showed the color of pillowcases on their faces. Wasn't Kakarot only a few hundred combat points a year ago? In just 1 year, the combat power has soared to as much as 23,000 points. How is this possible? Raditz yelled. Everything is possible. Son Goku took a step forward, his body exploded at this moment, and the powerful breath directly made Raditz and Vegeta take several steps back. Walk. Vegeta's face was extremely gloomy, and he stepped on his feet and shot straight into the sky. Raditz took a deep look at his younger brother, then followed Vegeta and left Guaxian Island. As soon as Vegeta and Raditz left, Son Goku's tense nerves relaxed in vain. He exhaled a big breath and said to Zhongyang, "Brother Zhongyang, it's a good thing they left. Otherwise, I would really kill you. I'm afraid I won't be able to do anything if I lose my eldest brother." Hearing Son Goku's words, Zhongyang patted him on the shoulder lightly, but smiled without saying a word. Next, Zhongyang stayed on Guaxian Island for a while, then teleported away. He said goodbye to Bulma first, and then went straight back to Gods of Destruction in the 7th universe. After being slack for some years, it's time for him to start his own retreat. Zhongyang. As soon as Zhongyang returned to the Gods of Destruction world, Beerus stopped him. "What's wrong, Master Beerus?" Zhongyang flew in front of Beerus, and seeing him dripping with sweat, he must have just finished training. As a candidate for the 7th universe, Gods of Destruction, the power of destruction has not yet appeared in your body. If it spreads out, it may insult my reputation, just like it seems that I can't teach you to control the power of destruction. Holding a towel in his hand, Beerus wiped the sweat from his forehead, cheeks and neck with a little panting, only to hear him say lightly, "So next, I will teach you how to control the power of destruction." Hearing what Beerus said, Zhongyang was taken aback for a moment, and then a slightly astonished smile appeared on his face. The reason is simple, he seems to know the way Beerus said to control the power of destruction. #BT. Selfishness. That's right. The reason why the Gods of Destruction in various universes seldom set foot on the perfect Ultra Instinct realm is entirely because the character of the Gods of Destruction is different from Angel's gentleness. Therefore, for Gods of Destruction, pure violence and pure destruction are the key points to control the power of destruction and enter the realm of self-consciousness. If you want to control the power of destruction, then you have to understand a law. Beerus put his hands behind his back, and said indifferently, "No matter which universe it is, there is a principle that is followed, that is, the strong survive and the weak are eliminated." "I see." Zhongyang nodded, his awareness of this law is still very high. No matter which world it is, the strong is king, and the strong will always live better than the weak. The strong have a lofty status, and the weak can only live in a lowly way. This is true for all universes. Zhongyang, the reason why you are favored by so many Gods of Destruction and Angel is because you are strong enough. Beerus walked around while talking. If Zhongyang's strength is not enough, then even if the food he cooks is extremely delicious, it is absolutely impossible for him to become the candidate for Gods of Destruction in the 7th Hand universe. In the face of many angels, although his delicious food has conquered too many people, if there is no absolute strength, the absolute waiting for Zhongyang is just a simple granary of human beings, and it is impossible to have any food expenses. All of this is because Zhongyang is strong enough to win respect. I see. Zhongyang took a deep breath and nodded. If you want to control the power of destruction, you only need to enter the realm of self-consciousness. Beerus said lightly. This state, you can imagine it as a unique state of Gods of Destruction, and it can also be regarded as a state similar to the state of freedom. Extreme self-consciousness, Zhongyang murmured softly. Before time travel, he had read Dragon Ball Super follow-up comics. He naturally knew that Vegeta controlled this realm in the later stage. When he saw this, he 103 also thought about the fusion between Vegeta in the state of self-consciousness and Goku in the state of self-consciousness, and what a powerful combination will be born. Where's the fighter? Thinking of this, Zhang Yang glanced at Beerus and said in a deep voice, Master Beerus, I have a question. Just ask. Beerus nodded. Can the two states of freedom and self-existence be combined to create a new state? Zhang Yang's eyes flickered for a moment, and a shocking muscle appeared. Hearing Zhang Yang's question, Beerus was stunned, and then a strange look slowly appeared on his face. To be honest, he didn't know how to answer Zhang Yang. This question was really difficult for him. After all, who can have such an idea as Zhang Yang? They have never thought about the fusion of the two states of free and self-consciousness into one state. Most importantly, among the 18 universes, only the 17th universe, and the gods of destruction of the 18th universe control these two states at the same time. But these two people never came up with the idea that Zhang Yang said today, which also proves that neither the lawbreaker nor Mei had thought of combining the two states of free and self-consciousness into one. A new realm is born. Your question is very good. But I can't answer it. Beerus coughed lightly twice, then turned around and shouted loudly, Whis! Whis! An astonishing problem, come and answer it. Whis! Whis! Huge problem, answer it quickly. Master Beerus, I'm here. Call out. The sound of breaking the air sounded. Immediately afterwards, Whis, holding the angel staff, appeared in front of the two of them. Whis! Beerus put his chin in his hand, and said, Zhang Yang just raised a very interesting question, that is, whether the two different types of states of self-consciousness and self-consciousness can perform fusion. Thus, a powerful new state is born. Zhang Yang on the side stared at Whis, obviously looking forward to his answer. Well, hearing Beerus' question, Whis showed a look of astonishment on his face, and then looked at Zhang Yang. His eyes were full of amazement, and said, as expected of little Zhang Yang, he can think of such a tricky question. How about it, Whis? Do you have any unique insights of your own? Zhang Yang is looking forward to it. Whis held his chin and pondered for a moment, then slowly opened his mouth. Theoretically speaking, self-indulgence and self-intention cannot be fused, and a powerful new state will be born. But what? Zhang Yang and Beerus widened their eyes a little, and asked eagerly. Whis took a deep look at Zhang Yang, smiled and said, but if it's the little Zhang Yang who did such an amazing thing, I would feel very normal. Fall. Hearing Whis' words, both Zhang Yang and Beerus fell down, and then both of their faces were speechless. What Whis said is simply not saying the same thing. Okay, stop kidding. Whis straightened his face, looking a little serious, and said in a deep voice, little Zhang Yang's idea is very good, but at present, only Master Mei and Master Lawbreaker can control the two states at the same time. So, if you really want to find out, I'm afraid you have to ask those two adults too. Furthermore, the current you have not yet mastered the state of self-consciousness, little Zhang Yang, backquote. 2. Hearing Whis' words, Zhang Yang nodded in approval. Even the two mighty gods of destruction, Mei and Spellbreaker, had thought about it, but they couldn't do it. But, just because they can't do it doesn't mean Zhang Yang can't do it. At present, it is not a good thing for him to think too far into the corner. It is better to understand his own ultimate intention before talking about other things. In the following time, Zhang Yang followed Beerus seriously and began to practice. In this way, a year passed quietly. IG 763, a certain day in October. Zhang Yang slowly walked out of the infinite multiple gravity chamber. Ding! Congratulations to the host, who has successfully retreated for a year and received rewards. Flash time skill plus 1 second, 10% chance to weaken attribute effects, 10% chance to kill attribute effects, primary self-intention destructive power unlimited multiple gravity room evolved into an advanced version unlimited multiple gravity room. Receive the retreat reward now or delay it. As soon as he walked out of the gravity room, the system's prompt sounded in Zhang Yang's mind. Good guy. I have entered the state of self-intention several times a while ago, but now it is because of the retreat reward that I directly control the self-intention. This is really outrageous. Zhang Yang suddenly showed a happy smile. The reward of this system is to doze off, and the pillow will fall from the sky, so he will not be allowed to stay up for a little longer. Receive award. Zhang Yang directly received the retreat reward this time. Host. Zhang Yang. Bloodline. Saiyan. Combat power. Angel level combat power 13.5. Skills. Flash time for 6 seconds, 50 times Kaioken without side effects, advanced version of instant transmission, 80% chance to kill attribute effects, 80% chance to weaken attribute effects, second stage Ultra Instinct, primary self-intention, the power of destruction, the power of angel, and turn back time for 1 minute. Items: Advanced Edition Unlimited Multiple Gravity Room, Unlimited Gourmet House, Shondo 999 Plus, Super Dragon Ball X3. After receiving the reward, Zhang Yang glanced at his character attribute panel, and the smile on his face deepened a lot. However, he doesn't quite understand the basic self-consciousness. Is there any deeper middle level, high level, or perfection? If this is the case, then I am afraid that they have mastered a level of self-intentional power. For ordinary gods of destruction, they can definitely easily break through their shackles. By then, angel-level gods of destruction will appear on a large scale. But if you think about it carefully, even if one day Zhang Yang reaches the highest point in his understanding of ultimate instinct, he will not pass it on casually. What is the advanced version of the unlimited multiplier gravity chamber? Zhang Yang checked the introduction, and after reading it, he suddenly realized. The speed of time has been increased in the gravity chamber with unlimited multiples. As the controller, he can make the time in the gravity chamber faster or slower than the time outside. The advanced version of the unlimited multiplier gravity chamber is a good thing. Zhang Yang sighed inwardly. Drink, ha. Boom. Zhang Yang came flying, looking down from the sky above the gods of destruction realm. Now, above the earth, Beerus was exploding with a terrifying aura, and as his roar gradually increased, the purple energy flames around him also shot up into the sky, forming a gas that looked like a substance. The current Beerus combat strength value has reached 10.7 points. This guy is indeed the third gods of destruction to receive Angel's blessing. Zhang Yang was also very shocked by Beerus' growth. You know, he's a man who is a big cheater, and Beerus doesn't have any golden fingers. He was able to reach the current combat power value of 10.7 points in such a short period of time. This shows that his talent potential is also very terrifying. Zhang Yang. Just when Zhang Yang in the sky was still marveling at Beerus' growth speed, Beerus below suddenly let out a loud cry, and then soared into the sky with an extremely strong fighting spirit. Seeing this situation, for some reason, Zhang Yang subconsciously transformed into a Super Saiyan God superimposed form of perfect freedom and ultimate intention. Very good. It seems that your body is involuntarily warming up, and you want to fight me. Seeing Zhang Yang's direct transformation, Beerus on the high altitude roared excitedly, "Come on. Brat, let me see how powerful you are now. In this battle, I will attack with all my strength, and I will never hold back a single bit. Come on, let's have a good fight between you and me." Boom. After saying these words, Beerus' aura soared to an extreme. Is it okay? Zhang Yang looked at the imposing Beerus, looked down at Whis below, and said in a deep voice. To be honest, he really wanted to have a good fight with Beerus, but when he thought about his fight with Beerus at this level, he might break through the universe, so he immediately hesitated. Rest assured, the voice of Whis came. Although the battle between gods and gods will have a little impact on the universe, it will not have much impact in general. The reason why open fights between gods of destruction and gods of destruction are not allowed is because the established rules do not allow it. Your battle with Master Beerus does not count as the battle between gods of destruction and gods of destruction. Although Zhang Yang is a candidate for gods of destruction, he is only a candidate for gods of destruction, not the real gods of destruction, so he is not within the rules. There is no such thing as a fight between the two that violates the rules, causing the superiors to convict Beerus and Zhang Yang. That's good. Although Zhang Yang had some doubts in his heart, he just didn't bother to pay attention at the moment. Now, he just wants to have a good fight with Beerus. Call out. The figure of Whis flickered for a moment, and appeared above the sky of gods of destruction. Then, I saw him holding the angel staff and pointing at the void. In the next second, all the Japanese appeared in the deepest part of the seventh universe, the minister of the starry sky. Boom. When the scene changed out of bounds, Zhang Yang also exploded suddenly. The silver-white airflow and red arrogance scattered around him made him look like a true god. Come on, Master Beerus. With a roar, Zhang Yang took the lead in attacking. Boom. His speed was extremely fast, and he charged in front of Beerus in an instant like a thunderbolt. Boom. Punch. Just one punch. Zhang Yang blasted Beerus away. Call out. Zhang Yang followed, but Beerus reacted, and the two officially began to fight. At the same time, among the 6th universes closest to the 7th universe, in the realm of gods of destruction, Vado's eyes flickered for a moment, then looked at Champa, who was sleeping soundly, and then lightly tapped the ground with the angel staff in his hand. Call out. Moment. Vados turned into a streamer and disappeared directly into the gods of destruction realm of the 6th universe. More than that, 13th universe, 15th universe, 17th universe. Excluding the 7th universe, there are 17 universes in total. And now, there are at least 7 universes with angel-level existence rushing towards the 7th universe. Drink. Now, in the depths of the starry sky of the 7th universe, roars spit out from Beerus' mouth. Now he is already a little embarrassed. Don't look at the purple energy arrogance spreading all over his body is still terrifying, but the upper body of his gods of destruction divine clothing has been shattered, exposing the muscles like iron plates. Stinky boy, you really don't spare any effort. Beerus looked at the wound on his arm, reached out and wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth, and sneered. Master Beerus is not bad either. Zhang Yang coughed twice. The clothes on his body were also bursting at the moment, and his upper body was bare, revealing a muscle plate that was more perfect than Beerus. His strength surpassed that of Beerus too much, but he didn't go all out at the moment, but was at the same level of combat power as Beerus. Don't think that Zhang Yang, who is at the same level of combat strength as Shin, has fallen more disadvantaged than Beerus. At this moment, he is not injured at all, but his clothes are blown apart. As for Beerus, who was punched hundreds of times in a second by him just now, he definitely suffered a huge internal injury. Come again. Beerus let out a loud shout, raised his hand, and rushed towards Zhang Yang. Destroy. Beerus completely used his killer move, raised his hand and released the strongest ultimate move of gods of destruction directly at Zhang Yang, destroy. But Zhang understands that Beerus is not only releasing the wrecking ball with a little bit of destruction now, it is not purely using the move of destruction. That's it, this destructive energy ball is also extremely terrifying. At first, Zhang Yang wanted to slap the destructive energy ball away, but when the distance was getting closer, he dodged subconsciously. Boom. Moment. As he dodged away, he saw the purple destructive energy ball blasting on a planet behind Zhang Yang. At this moment, it was dawn, and the huge planet was as gorgeous as fireworks bursting. Beautiful. At this moment, neither Zhang Yang nor Beerus has the heart BEFB to watch this beauty. Now, the two fought close to each other again. The fists of the two were covered with a layer of gas flames, and every time they hit each other, the nearest planet exploded directly. Call out, call out, call out. Vados was the first to arrive, followed by Rebecca, May, Anna and others. Whis, what's going on? Anna looked at Zhang Yang and Beerus, who seemed to be in a life and death battle in the universe, and her brows suddenly frowned. Sister Anna, Master Beerus is conducting a comprehension battle for little Zhang Yang. Whis said, comprehension battle? You mean, Zhang Yang hasn't comprehended his ultimate intention yet? Anna frowned slightly. Some time ago, I could occasionally enter the state of self-consciousness, but it didn't last long. Whis replied. After this battle, I think he should be able to control ultimate instinct. Well, Anna responded softly, looked towards the field, and then whispered softly, he who controls the two states at the same time, I don't know if he can successfully combine the free self into one. What? Whis, who was closest to Anna, was stunned when he heard Anna's murmur, and then said in surprise, Sister Anna, what did you just say to combine two into one? Oh, forget you don't know. Feeling the surprised eyes turning around, Anna pondered for a moment, and then said, the two states of being free and self are actually one state at the very beginning. Nani. As soon as Anna's words came out, everyone in the audience was shocked. The state of combining two into one, what is that? Whis glanced at Zhang Yang, who was fighting Beerus in the universe, his eyes flickered for a moment and then asked. My memory is a little too long. It seems to be free self-intentional kung fu or perfect kung fu. Anna's memory doesn't seem to be very comprehensive, she just remembers some. Comfortable self-extreme instinct. Perfect ultimate intention. Whis and the others' eyes widened immediately, and their mouths opened a lot wider at this moment. Although they are angels, or mighty gods of destruction, compared to Anna's age, they are really young enough. This sister Anna was born in the real ancient times, and she knows a lot. Little Zhang Yang. His guess was right. After getting the final answer, Whis looked towards Zhang Yang in the universe with a look of shock. Boom. Rumble. At this moment, there were bursts of crackling sounds in the universe. Everyone hurriedly looked, only to see that Zhang Yang is no longer the transformation form of Super Saiyan God superimposed perfect Ultra Instinct. A state of self-consciousness. In this state, he has purple energy flames rising all over his body, his hair is lavender to black, and his aura is extremely terrifying. It's done. Whis looked at Zhang Yang in this state and smiled. Say, at this time, an angel said in surprise, how long has this self-intentional state been in control? 1 year. Whis smiled lightly. Yes, this little guy, Zhang Yang, has mastered the realm of self-extreme mind after only using it for a year. Note, the state of self-consciousness controlled by Zhang Yang is not controlled by Vegeta in the anime. Once Zhang Yang's state of self-consciousness is mastered, it is the completion of the initial stage of self-consciousness, not Vegeta's state of entering the state of self-consciousness. Nani, only used for a year. A look of horror appeared on this angel's face. Yes, only a year old. Whis nodded with some pride. Hiss. Hearing Whis answer, most of the angels, gods of destruction present couldn't help but gasped. This speed can be called terrifying, so terrifying that it makes people feel unbelievable. O born gods of destruction. Vados couldn't help but sigh in admiration. Master Champa didn't know how many years it took to be able to control his ultimate will, but what about Zhang Yang? 1 year time. It only took a year. Brat, remember this feeling. Among the universe, Beerus looked at Zhang Yang who had entered the realm of his own extreme intention, and felt happy for him from the bottom of his heart, then with a loud shout, he charged towards him again. Boom, boom, boom. Although it is not the first time he has entered the realm of extreme self-intention, but compared to the strength he brought before, now that he has completely controlled the initial stage of extreme self-intention, his strength has increased by at least several times compared to before fighting power. Zhang Yang estimated that the state of self-consciousness he was in before was at most 10.5 points of combat power. But now, to say the least, there are 11 combat power values. Boom, boom, boom. This is the sound of Zhang Yang's heart beating. At this moment, he has endless energy and is tireless at all. Boom. Facing Beerus' attack, he just raised his hand and punched him, and directly sent him flying. Destroy. Zhang Yang stretched out his right hand, and a purple energy destruction ball emerged from his palm. Boom. Nani. Seeing the purple energy wrecking ball released by Zhang Yang, Beerus' face suddenly changed. He wasn't surprised that Zhang Yang was able to unleash destruction just by mastering the realm of his own extreme intention, but that the destructive power contained in the destructive energy ball released by this kid was too pure. Not to mention him, Beerus even felt that this destructive energy ball would have to be destroyed even if gods of destruction forced him to fight against it. Immediately, Beerus didn't dare to be distracted anymore, and hurriedly dodged away. Fortunately, his speed increased to the extreme, otherwise he would definitely have died in the hands of Zhang Yang. Boom. The destructive energy ball released by Zhang Yang blasted into the universe, and all the uninhabited galaxies were destroyed, and deep and dark black holes appeared one by one, making the eyes of the gods and even many angels who were watching the show widen up. Outrageous. Horrible. Fear. Yes. At this moment, only these words rose up in their hearts. Zhang Yang. Seeing this result, Beerus was terrified for a while, then turned his head, looked at the embarrassed Zhang Yang, his face darkened instantly, and roared angrily, You want to kill me? Ahem. Master Beerus, I really don't blame me. The destructive energy ball you released before, I thought it was nothing, who knows? Zhang Yang has returned to his normal appearance at this moment, looking at the extremely angry Beerus with a look of embarrassment. Who knows? Shut up. Beerus was extremely angry, but fortunately he had increased his speed to the extreme just now, otherwise there would be no such thing as Beerus now. Don't think that angel has the ability to turn back time. Destruction is equivalent to a weakened version of clearing. Once destroyed, it will completely disappear in the universe. So, not even angel's ability to turn back time can save Beerus. Don't you have any B numbers for your own strength? His grandma, I didn't die at the hands of others, I almost died at the hands of my own family. Beerus really couldn't calm down. Watching the uninhabited galaxies being swallowed by black holes, there was a surge of fear in his heart. Ahem, my problem, my problem. Seeing Beerus's rare swearing, and he was still imitating his national essence, Zhang Yang became even more embarrassed, and hurriedly said, I will get you more delicious food later, trust me, this time, I will definitely let you. The stomach is extremely satisfied. Humph, delicious food is indeed the most powerful thing. After hearing Zhang Yang's words, Beerus's anger was instantly extinguished. After a cold snort, he slowly flew towards Whis. Zhang Yang glanced at the black holes in the universe not far away, and the corner of his mouth twitched uncontrollably. Fortunately, there are some uninhabited galaxies nearby, otherwise he would have become a world destroyer. Zhang Yang also flew over to Whis and his group. After putting on the clothes Whis gave him, he turned his attention to Anna, Rebecca and other angels. Already. Zhang Yang, no one can sense the movement you make. Rebecca snorted. Say. While talking, Rebecca glanced at Beerus, and suddenly laughed. If you killed Lord Beerus just now, then you would have become the 7th universe gods of destruction directly. What a pity, what a pity. If you become the real gods of destruction, then I can be your angel. Hearing Rebecca's words, Beerus' face turned dark instantly, even though he understood that Rebecca was joking. But how could anyone be happy when he heard such words of cursing himself to death? Beerus felt that Rebecca might be making a joke, but Zhang Yang took a deep look at Rebecca. He could see that this girl wasn't just talking casually, but really hoped that Beerus had died just now, so that Zhang Yang became the gods of destruction of the 7th universe. This kind of child's thinking is the most terrifying, because she doesn't think too much, she just implements her own ideas purely for her own selfish desires. This does not mean that Rebecca will lay hands on Beerus. Let's go. Anna spoke at this moment. Yes, a group of angels or gods of destruction who came to the 7th universe to watch the show nodded one after another, and then turned into streamers of light and returned to their own universe. Soon, only Anna, Rebecca, May, and Vados were left in the universe, 4 non-7th universes. Zhang Yang, Whis said at this time, your previous guess, Sister Anna explained to us just now, that the extreme intention of freedom and the extreme intention of self can indeed be combined into one to become a powerful new realm 3. Oh, hearing what Whis said, Zhang Yang immediately set his sights on Anna, and just when he was about to ask, Rebecca smiled and said, wouldn't it be nice to talk while eating? Quote. Hearing Rebecca's words, everyone felt the same, and then returned to the gods of destruction world of the 7th universe. As soon as he returned to the gods of destruction world of the 7th universe, Zhang Yang directly brought out dozens of delicacies. This time, the delicacies were not ordinary Chinese delicacies, but real Goyan-level delicacies. Wow, dozens of dishes of national-level delicacies appeared, and Rebecca immediately howled with excitement. At the moment, she only had these foods in her eyes. As for Beerus, although he was a little moved, he was still a little curious about the new realm that Anna said about the combination of freedom and self-consciousness, so he was just eating this delicious meal slowly. Anna, 607, are you saying that being free is a realm? Zhang Yang listened to what Anna told Whis before, then his eyes flickered, and he asked in surprise. Yes, Anna nodded, with a little confusion in her eyes, and then said, this is the practice method of the ancient times. If I remember correctly, it is to respect the door given to my father by God. True God. Hearing this term, not only Zhang Yang was stunned, but May, Vados and Whis all stayed in place. The gods of ancient times are not the gods of today. Anna gracefully put a piece of meat into her mouth, chewed it a dozen times before slowly swallowing, and then continued, the current gods, such as Lord Beerus, gods of destruction, are sealed. God has only a name, but no reality. Nani. Even though he lived for an unknown number of millions of years, it was the first time Beerus heard this kind of secret at this moment, and now his whole face was full of shock. Like Beerus, you can only be regarded as a pretty good level in the ancient times. Facing the existence of a higher level, you will be killed with a snap of your fingers. Rebecca, who was on the side, was eating, and suddenly broke in a sentence. Swish swish swish. Everyone hastily set their eyes on her. Rebecca, how do you know that? Anna looked at the young sister with a little surprise. Sister Anna, have you forgotten? I have lived on the big angel star for hundreds of millions of years. When I have time, I like to read some ancient books. In addition, my father often chats with me. I don't think too much about that period. Strangeness. Rebecca sucked her onion-like thumb and index finger, then picked a chicken leg, and quickly started to eat it. Everyone was not in a hurry and looked at Rebecca quietly. From the looks of it now, it seems that this little girl has a better understanding of things in the ancient times. Wow, it's so delicious. Hey, why are you all staring at me? Zhongyang, your food is so delicious. I'm so in love with it. Rebecca was extremely excited, shaking her little head happily, and flicked her twin ponytails doing twice, which was really cute. Okay, Zhongyang responded perfunctorily, and then said, delicious, I will not miss yours. That kind of fusion of freedom and self-consciousness has become the most primitive method. Do you know how to fuse? Exclamation mark quote. Do not know. Rebecca shook her head. Even I don't know much about that true God, and there are too few records about him. In the words of my father, it seems that he didn't want to leave too many traces in that era. Hearing this, Zhongyang frowned slightly. From this point of view, this world is far from being as simple as the worldview of the original Dragon Ball. This moment, Zhongyang began to doubt whether he really timed into the original animation of Dragon Ball. Because these 18 universes exist for a time period. There are also so-called true gods from the ancient times. Take a good look, this is the official history of Dragon Ball. Anna, tell me what you know. Zhongyang put his eyes on Anna and asked. He felt that Rebecca would not be able to ask any questions, so he could only rely on Anna, but if he had any clues, he would probably choose to try to find out this ancient true god method. Anna shook her head with a wry smile, just about to say that she didn't know too much. Hey, I haven't finished yet. At this time, Rebecca waved her hand and continued. I have something to tell you, don't you go out and say that I told you. What's up? Seeing Rebecca's cute and thief-like appearance, everyone immediately became interested. Rebecca glanced left and right, then reached out and beckoned to several people. Zhongyang and others stepped forward. Among the entire big universe, there used to be more than 18 universes. Rebecca lowered her voice a little. Everyone was taken aback. Especially Zhongyang's eyes widened completely at this moment. After the ancient times, there is the ancient times. In that period, there was another universe called the Zeroth universe. Rebecca didn't make too much of a fuss, and directly revealed the secret. Nani? Hearing this Zeroth universe, the audience was shocked. Impossible. Anna was shocked to be shocked, but she didn't quite believe it. You know, she was born in ancient times, and why didn't she know that there was a Zeroth universe in ancient times? I'm not sure how true it is, but it's recorded in a small notebook of my father's. Rebecca shrugged, and continued to eat after saying this. Universe Zero, I've never heard of it. Vados shook his head. Me too. Whis also shook his head, not quite believing the existence of this first universe. Everyone expressed disbelief, but Zhongyang kept this Zeroth universe in his heart. He was not thinking of Anna and others. You know, these 18 universes are all gathered in one time period, so what is it to have a first universe that doesn't even have the original Dragon Ball? If you have a chance, you can check whether you really have the first universe. And Anna's memory seems to be a little faulty, as if some important memories have been erased. Zhongyang glanced at Anna, who was frowning tightly, and couldn't help but secretly guess something. What Zhongyang is even more curious about is that Anna and Angel have always mentioned only their father, the Grand Priest, but they have never mentioned their mother. This is also a suspicious point. Although Angel's mother is never mentioned in the original Dragon Ball anime, in Zhongyang's opinion, this Dragon Ball world must not be taken as common sense from the original Dragon Ball anime's worldview. Soon, a meal was finished by people with their own concerns. After eating, those who should leave naturally should also leave. Before Anna left, she took a deep look at Zhongyang. As for Rebecca, the cute king, she was extremely reluctant to hang on to Zhongyang. If Mei hadn't taken her away forcibly, she might really want to hang on to Zhongyang forever. Body. What do you think? After Anna and the others left, Beerus came to Zhongyang with an iron toothpick in his mouth and asked curiously. I don't have any ideas. There is a saying in my hometown that the boat will go straight when it reaches the bridge. Zhang Yang grinned, and then his figure flickered for a while, then disappeared into the Gods of Destruction world. Cut. This kid can always come up with some strange and unintelligible words. Beerus snorted disdainfully, and then his face suddenly became serious, and then he sighed heavily, with a bit of unwillingness on his face, and said in a low voice, "It's really a little bit to be surpassed by that brat Zhang Yang." Annoyed. Is Master Beerus unhappy? Whis looked at Beerus with a smile, and asked him a question. Naturally happy. Beerus sighed softly, then looked at Whis with a wry smile, and said, "But, you don't understand this feeling, so, how can I say it? This brat is also my watch grow up. But he took advantage of your inattention, and directly overtook you, Mr. Beerus, right? Even, he gave you a chance to overtake you at a little bit, and there is no PB against the factory." Whis covered his mouth and snickered. Yes, Beerus was dejected for a while. No matter how this brat grows up, I'm afraid Beerus won't be able to catch up with him, and he will be ruthlessly left behind. So, Master Beerus, you can't be so lazy anymore. Whis laughed. Yes. Beerus nodded earnestly. His potential was not comparable to that of ordinary gods of destruction. After all, in this big universe, he is the only Beerus, Spellbreaker and May who have received Angel's blessing. Although there is still a Zhang Yang now, the blessings performed by the latter were too late. After all, apart from him, the other two guys have successfully broken through the shackles and become the existence of angel-level combat power. Especially this guy, the Lawbreaker, whose combat power is even more terrifying than Whis, who is an angel. Reduce the sleep time and increase the intensity of practice. Whis, set a small goal for me. Beerus clenched his fists, his heart determined. What small goal? Break through the first shackles of Gods of Destruction, to reach the level of angel-level combat power. Beerus' gaze has never been more determined than it is today. This small goal is not so easy to achieve, Master Beerus. But, I believe in you. After all, you are Master Beerus. Whis smiled softly. Now, Earth, above the sky of Guaxian Island. Zhang Yang's face was full of astonishment. After returning to the Earth, he realized that it was already the year 763 of the Eki, and if he remembered correctly, around December of the year 762 of the Eki, Son Goku became furious due to the death of Sikrin. Become a super cold Asian. And it was this plot that completely pushed the animation of Dragon Ball to the pinnacle of the animation industry. That's why Zhang Yang has a deep memory of this time period. And now, it's IG 763, doesn't it mean that Son Goku has finished fighting Frieza? Thinking of this, he couldn't help but sighed regretfully. Witnessing Son Goku's achievement of transforming into Super Saiyan for the first time was not able to be achieved. Brother Zhang Yang, why are you so dazed in the sky? At this moment, a shout came from below. Only then did Zhang Yang come back to his senses, and look down. It was Son Goku who was waving to him in the sky. Zhang Yang was instantly stunned by this glance on Son Goku, and a look of astonishment and strangeness appeared on his face. Because Son Goku's combat power is not as strong as it should be after defeating Frieza. That said, he might not even have been in Namek's constant life and death battle. Call out. Zhang Yang flew from a high altitude to the beach on the island below, and then looked at Son Goku and asked, "In recent years, have you ever left Earth for a planet called Namek?" Namek. Son Goku was stunned for a moment, then nodded, but said in surprise, "How did Brother Zhang Yang know?" Been there." Hearing Son Goku's answer, Zhang Yang couldn't be dealt with. This person has been to Namek, but how can it not match the combat power that should be after defeating Frieza in the original book? In the original book, under the current Son Goku's normal state, the battle history must have at least 3 million points. And at this moment, Son Goku's normal combat power is only about 1 million points. How does it seem that he has experienced a battle between life and death? Yes, what's wrong? Son Goku looked at Brother Zhang Yang with a confused look in his eyes, and suddenly felt strange. So have you ever met a guy named Frieza? Zhang Yang didn't believe in evil, and continued to ask. Frieza, I'm sorry, Brother Zhang Yang, I have never met this guy. I have met the Great Elder on Namek, and he is an extremely kind and wise man. Son Goku scratched the back of his head and replied with a silly smile. It's so strange. Zhang Yang was completely dumbfounded. This bizarre plot made him even suspect at this moment that he killed that guy Frieza in 000 back then. At this moment, Zhang Yang raised his eyebrows suddenly, then looked up to the sky, and the induction force spread out in vain at this moment. Soon, after sensing something, Zhang Yang's complexion gradually became strange. At the same time, above the Earth's sky, a huge spaceship of universe flew into the Earth from outside the atmosphere in a few blinks of an eye. Now, in the huge universe spaceship, Vegeta, I still have to ask you one more thing, are you sure there is a Saiyan named Zhang Yang on this planet? In the command room of the spaceship, Frieza was sitting in a small flying disc. He was holding a red wine glass in his right hand and was shaking it gently. An extremely indifferent voice rang out in the command room. Dear King Frieza, please just trust me. Vegeta knelt down on one knee under the small flying disc Frieza was sitting on, with a flattering smile on his face, only to hear him say, if that guy is not on this planet, just kill me. Hearing that Vegeta dared to say that, Frieza's eyes narrowed immediately, and then the corners of his mouth rose slightly, evoking a cold arc. Zhang Yang, dead monkey, I have been looking for you for so many years, but I finally found you. You just wait to meet King Frieza's wrath. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.